Shadows hid freaks so stubborn they refused to stay dead. Escaping the life cycle. Yeah, they felt pretty cool. Owning one dimension was barely a warm-up. Taking Earth. Just another item on their totter list? But nope, Earth wasn't gonna roll over that easy. One zombie dude saw a normie tank his fire blast. The rotting guy couldn't process how this bro was still standing. Crispy skin, chill vibes, like nothing happened. His eyes blazed way harder than the flames, 'cause this dude was ready to wreck everyone. "I'm way tougher than you, Bone," he screamed. Boom! He burst out and punched the skill face into orbit. Rewind 2 years. Just a boring city apartment. Sis was totally chewing out our main guy. She'll let him crash to find work, not chug beer and game. She was totally kicking him back to mom and dad if he didn't shape up. Too buzzed to think. He just mumbled nonsense. He admitted mooching off parents at his age is cringe. But she wasn't done roasting him. She brought up his allowance and begged him to get a gig. He decided to push that drama to tomorrow, 'cause his brain was spinning too fast. When she finally zipped it, he sighed. So draining. He flopped right onto the bed to crash after his wild night. Face plant in the pillow. Man, he felt like a loser. Kang-hoon only managed to snag a big corp internship after moving, so now he needs a warehouse gig, ASAP. Glanced at his PC. Oops, left the game running. The guy wondered. Sick. It'd be if life was an RPG, easy leveling, right? The main character began to drift off, dreaming of being a mage or sword-swinging hero. Sleep hit him like a truck, deleting his thoughts. Then the game system went, yo, dimension link found. While Kang-hoon kept snoozing, Earth's firewall went up. No calls to Hawan. The noob tutorial was starting right here on Earth. Suddenly, he jolted awake, feeling super weird. Kang-hoon looked around. Whoa, where's this bright room? Gasp. Everything looked glitchy and creepy. He couldn't figure out why the floating sign, glowing text just popped up in midair, like a game HUD. It welcomed Kang-hoon to boot camp. 5 years left until the dimensions merge. Newbie warning. The tutorial runs through 8 distinct levels. And yeah, dying here. Totally. Not a respawn situation. No rage quitting allowed. One life only. So don't mess it up. The carrot? He'd get superpowered awakening. Immediately, our guy figured this weird trip was just a gamer. Hallucination, needing serious therapy. Cringe overload. He mentally apologized to his folks for being such a scrub. Then, snap. Kang-hoon chilled out and ditched the panic. He decided this whole crazy setup was a lucid dream, a divine nudge to finally try hard for once. He spotted the level 1 entrance. Loading up, the system texted him some hype about saving the world. Though honestly, he had zero clue. He was the chosen one to rescue anything. Mission update. Cross the bridge. Face fears. Reminder, perma-death is on. Suddenly, the graphics glitched out and warped him straight into a totally different map. Bright flames reflected in his eyes. The place was literally lit. Turns out, Kang-hoon wasn't this raw and other players were stuck on the sketchy bridge too. Looking down, big mistake. Bubbling magma, right below his sneakers. He glanced around at the pale, terrified noobs who also looked totally lost in the sauce. Our main character tried to figure out the spawn logic here. All he knew was that he was chilling at home a second ago, still hoping it was a nightmare, but the foot-roasting heat felt way too HD. Right then, the guy looked up and spotted a familiar face. His sister. Seeing her standing there freaked him out even more. She started tearing up, and he got annoyed. Why was she crashing his dream? But she was about to say the exact same thing to him. Ignoring their usual sibling beef, Ayun focused on the major issue. Unlike him, she didn't think this was imaginary. She started rambling about the Save Earth quest, but Kang-hoon cut her off. He told her to quit acting. Like she's the MC? He was sure this was his mental simulation. She argued that the logic didn't matter since the magma heat felt legit. Plus, dream conversations usually aren't this coherent. Kang-hoon just laughed. Humans are so easily trolled by their brains. He admitted he's had dreams where he was taking a leak. Real life, only to wake up dry. Ayun just stared, not getting why he'd share that TMI moment with his own sister. Anyway, our hero was ready to push forward, but she wasn't rushing. Bro tried to explain the mission, just hike across the bridge. Figured sis missed the memo. He swore it was a dream, thinking she was clueless. But she rolled her eyes. I saw the pop-up. Genius. She asked if he was scared of taking a tumble. But he played it cool? Nah, just a dream. Remember? He figured splatting on the ground would just wake him up. Right then, some random noob, who failed the quest, went zooming past him into the void. Seeing that, yeah, Brel started doubting his theory. Then came the screaming. And the burning, totally not a vibe. Awkward silence hit Kang-hoon and his sister. As they realized, failure meant becoming human toast. His chill attitude vanished. Nobody moved a muscle. Sis asked why he kept yapping about his stupid it's just a dream theory. He tried to look tough, but his shaking gave him away. She sighed, thinking he looked absolutely pathetic. She hit the deck to stay safe, and told him to copy her before he died of stupid. He pretended not to care, but crawled anyway. Just 'cause you said so? Everyone else started crawling too, inching toward the end while freaking out internally. You could hear the panic breathing from every direction. Sis couldn't stand the quiet, so she grilled our hero. So, any bright ideas on what's actually happening? He muttered. Super realistic nightmare. She knew he was capping. He knew he was wrong. Something sketchy was definitely going on, and they had zero clue what it was. Her worry, game over here meant game over IR. He lost his cool. He'd been trying to ignore that, but she kept rubbing it in his face. He froze up, paralyzed on the bridge, like a statue. Worst big brother ever, she thought. Kang Hyun begged for a break, since he was shaking like a leaf. He started scheming a lazy way out of this nightmare. Maybe if he just napped there, he'd wake up in bed. Nope. Suddenly, a glowing window popped right in his face. They shut up fast to read the alert. SystemL said, "Tutorial time is over." Translation: difficulty level just spiked. They stared ahead, totally confused and doomed. Everyone froze, sensing some seriously weird vibes rumbling under their sneakers. Then boom, something blew up behind our main guy. Definitely not a party popper. The whole squad bolted, trying to beat the clock. Some tripped and wiped out, hard total chaos. Finally, our dynamic duo clicked. Freezing up right now meant game over. Kanayan zoomed off, but Buddy Boy was lagging, still chilling on the floor. He scrambled up at the buzzer, barely dodging the crumbling doom. Kong Hyen was sweating staring the Grim Reaper right in the eyes. Despite the panic, he tried to chill. "It's fine. Totally fine," he lied. He figured the path wasn't super skinny, so even a clumsy run wouldn't send him flying off the edge. Just gotta stare straight ahead and not trip over his own feet. Legs pumping, he finally caught up to his speed demand sister. Almost there. The panic attack started fading as the finish line got closer. Kang Hyun was feeling himself now, having basically crushed the obstacle course from hell. He grinned safe, then he spotted trouble hovering over his sis. He hollered at Kangin, 'cause the ceiling was about to turn her into a pancake with falling rocks. She looked up, eyes popping out. Major rip me vibes. Our guy knew, couldn't ditch her. Time for a big brain play. He YOLO'd a jump onto her platform to save snagged her waist, shoved her safe, and matrix dodged the falling rocks. A split second later, the bridge just pieced out, but our crew and a few stragglers flopped onto the safe zone just in time. Everyone stared, jaws on the floor, watching the bridge turn to crispy toast in the spicy lava pit. Ding! A holoscreen popped up for the siblings. Stage 1 cleared. You've awakened. Here's some loot. Dude could finally breathe without wheezing. His fingers were basically jelly though. Sis squinted at the temporary awakening. Bitsus. Kang Hyun was like, "You gonna thank your hero?" She gave a quick thanks and kept reading. Rude. She was totally confused by the glowing tech soup, but our gamer boy, he was vibe. He'd seen this UIA million times. A status window. Literally every nerd's birthday wish came true. The hype gave him a second wind. Even though his legs felt like overcooked noodles, he checked his stats. Unique skill resurrection. Cheat codes unlocked. He forced himself up, running on pure gamer adrenaline. Suddenly, our main guy bolted up in bed, totally freaking out. He sat there gasping for air, brain trying to process that glitch. For a hot minute, Hyun stared at the ceiling, thinking, what the heck was that? Tried telling himself it was just a spicy nightmare, nothing real. Grabbed his phone to spam the group chats about his creepy dream. Turns out, Hyun wasn't the only one tripping that night. Everyone was posting about whole families dreaming they died. Kids cracked up because parents who hated web novels were now begging for spoilers on this weird event. Some anon dropped a link to a secret chat room, made specifically for peeps who just unlocked superpowers. Meanwhile, Eartha was inching closer to merging with the Hoenn dimension. Next morning, Hyun zoomed out to spill the tea to his sister. She was dying to chat so they both started screaming about the nightmare at once. Yoon was hyped but got salty because he wouldn't let her speak. He glared back, annoyed that she kept cutting him off. Finally, the siblings split up. Two opposite corners, to chill out and clear his throat. Actually talk like humans. Then, their stomachs growled food first. Apocalypse talk later. Our guy stayed cool, deciding the dream drama could wait. Yoon agreed, so she stopped screaming at her big bro. They grabbed breakfast, and while scrolling their feeds, saw trending topics about the world ending. Now the siblings just shut up, realizing they weren't the only ones glitching out. Sis started freaking, realizing last night wasn't just a dream, since the whole planet saw the same thing. At least he chilled, realizing dying in the dream didn't kill you. Yoon still felt totally grossed out because that fall felt way too real and painful. She read that people who fell were legit traumatized. The main character stayed zipped while she thought how weird eating calm breakfast felt. She knew there was a total disaster outside, but they were seemingly safe for now. Hyen kept munching, figuring out their next move. Eventually, he slammed his chopsticks down, said they just gotta eat good and wait. He peeked out the window, asking if she wanted to dive into the madness. Meanwhile, a massive mob had gathered outside, panic mode fully activated. Townies were already fighting over random supplies, hoarding snacks like it's the end of the world. Weird cultists screamed, "We're all doomed." Some selfish jerks just saw a free payday, looted empty shops, trashing everything. Sis crept up behind bro, watching the total madness unfolding right downstairs. Guesswork's canceled because of the apocalypse. Kong Hyen was like, yeah, totally. Going out meant death. He asked about the Hawan link. Sis realized he ignored the info pop-up, so she checked it. She finally said, "We got 5 years till the big merge." But bro doubted we could prep in time. Sis saw our bro usually a total loser, actually spitting facts she couldn't deny. The morning craze died down, and by night, folks went back to normal. Korea chilled out in literally one day. Day 1 over. Bro slept, but boom, system alert. The U said welcome to training. He forgot he's a player. Asked if he needed a tutorial, but he just screamed, "Show me my stats." Finally, his base stats and skills popped up. He wondered if his numbers were trash or got no clue. Spotted a magic power stat. Maybe he's gonna be a wizard later. Then he saw it. Unique. He was super hyped to have a cheat code like that. An extra life. System asked to start stage 2. He clicked yes fast, feeling invincible. Who cares about death penalties? He'd just grind stats back up. Up until now, he was vibing with his revived skill, clueless about the horror. Turns out, he had to brawl. Nasty, tanky monsters. He swung his weapon like a pro, but was gassed out. Finally, dude managed to land a crit and flatten the beast. Stage 2 was just kill stuff to prove you don't suck. He figured it'd be an easy dub, says the system looked just like a retro game, so he didn't even suss it. Our hero managed to one-shot his foe with a sneaky mace bonk, but the vibe of smashing real flesh gave him the shakes. Kong Hoon couldn't believe he actually zeroed a life, even a gross one. It was tough for the young dude to cope. He felt like he was gonna hurl. Anyway, he figured he only won because that goblin was total still processing the kill. The hero pushed on, only to stumble into another monster's aggro range. Terrified, he instantly threw up his guard, praying his mace would save him. The massive goblin seemed shocked. See a random noob there, freezing for a sec. Then the mob looked past him and saw his wrecked ally. Instant rage mode definitely wasn't letting this slide. Meanwhile, Kong Hoon was shook. 2 enemies he couldn't compute. Weren't goblins supposed to be weak starter fodder? But this dude was huge, way beefier than the last one, wielding a sword over 1 meter long. Taking a hit from that would mean way more than a boo-boo. The goblin shrieked, winding up for a critical hit. He struck hard, and our hero couldn't block that insane power. Kong Hoon's jobless, cow's potato bod was totally unready. The starter weapon he picked for the tutorial was 70 centimeters totally useless reach. The goblin Isley slapped the twig out of his hands. Now he was just a meat shield eating combos. He accepted that with his trash stats. This boss was impossible. Battered and bruised, Kong Hoon was dripping red, crying like a baby from the damage. He was a mutilated mess, and he couldn't get why he had to suffer this hardcore grind. Turns out, the warrior wasn't satisfied with just a kill. So, he dragged the half-dead noob off to parts unknown. Kong Han never realized how much liquid a body holds. But feeling the cold grip of death, he sure knew now. Suddenly, he woke up, IRL screaming, startling his sis. Kanga was super ticked. Since it was early, and her splitting headache made her extra salty. Seeing her bro legit freaking out, she paused her rant. The kid cocooned himself in blankets, eyes wide, rambling about killer goblins. Finally, Kanga managed to drag him out to explain he just died of blood loss in the game. Lil Sis plugged her ears, totally done with the gore details. She noted she died in the trial too, but way less messy. No wonder bro was screaming his head off in his sleep. But the guy felt super cringe about being a baby over the pain. Kyung Hoon leaped up, shouting, "You wouldn't get it. Wait till you see that nightmare." She just told him to chill. The nurse asked if the MC needed a doc, "'Cause who knows if dying in-game fries your brain IR." She said, the news claims psych ward intake doubled lately. Maybe dementia trauma is actually a thing. Our guy paused for a sec to think. Do I need therapy? Decided, nah. Mostly 'cause he's totally broke. But hey, good news. Sis said dying probably means the tutorial is finally over. If you die in stage 1, you don't dream of stage 2. So our hero finally chilled out. But post-respawn, a glitch alert said, retake stage 2. System was like, stage 2, round 2. Start. Dude was absolutely fuming. Rage mode engaged. He lost it, cursing the devs and this whole dimension. Only silver lining, No death penalty fee since it's just the tutorial. Still, he wasn't rushing the mission. Fear made him nap for hours, hoping to wake up. Nope, the dude realized he had to grind. Plus, he was starving. Before round 2, he needed new gear. Headed to the weapon rack. Last time, he picked the mace for raw damage. Big mistake. Melee is scary, so he eyed the bow and crossbow. Also, grabbed a spear for backup. Checked the loot, settled on crossbow and spear combo. Time to flex those reservist shooting skills. He crept behind the castle walls. Stealth mode on, aiming at the mob's backs for a silent kill. He fired, and ... total whiff. Missed both goblins. He peeked, hoping he actually hit something. The goblin warrior, barely scratched on the cheek. Spun around. He sensed the noob instantly. Uh-oh. Stealth failed. Time for plan. Guess using a new weapon. Isn't that easy? Anyway, Kong Hoon grabbed his spear. Fight on. Our hero wrecked his foe with one clean hit. Boom. Job's already halfway done. He grinned like a dork since his plan actually worked. The path to winning was wide open. Kang Hyon quickly spun around, because monster number 2 was creeping up behind him. Then, reality hit. Things weren't smooth at all, and he just froze in terror. His hands shook like crazy. He was too weak to even hold the spear. The goblin didn't wait for an invite. It leaped to smash our helpless guy. Our boy had zero time to dodge. Bam! He woke up screaming in his actual bed. He wasn't even that scared. Since he got insta-killed this time, no pain. Nice. Next day, same error on stage, 2 alerts. Dude was getting seriously ticked off. This run, Kong Hyon grabbed a sword and shield. Hesitated a sec maybe. Stick to old gear. Nah, he decided. To stick to the plan. He'd spent all yesterday binge-watching XTube tutorials. He charged right in, screaming like a total boss for them to bring it on. Kong Hyon had died. Many times he wasn't scared of these ugly gobs anymore. Round 3, baby, ... and he woke up sweating buckets. Again, those creeps swarmed him. Another fat L. His sis rushed in when he screamed, but he didn't even notice her. He was too busy plotting sweet revenge. He laughed like a maniac, obsessed with finally deleting those monsters. He was so done with them. Kang-on saw her bro losing it, but she just watched from the door, staying quiet. Round 4, our guy skipped the system, intro yapping, and grabbed his sword to warm up. Before, he just swung wildly like a noob, thinking the status window meant that was okay. A ping popped up, stamina +1 for grinding hard. But he just flopped on the floor. All that sweat for one tiny point. Bruh. Then he noticed he'd actually snagged some extra stats back in stage 1. Dude realized he was so focused he totally forgot about the bonus point. Face, whatever. He dumped a point into strength. Now he had +2 stats to wreck. Big problem though. He was dead tired, couldn't kill a single one, and got wiped instantly. Round 5, stage 2. Kang Hyon went back to grinding stamina. Round 6.
He read.
Focused on strength. 10 hours later, boom, another point up. Dealing with 2 goblins should be a cakewalk now, except he still has 0 skill or muscle. So, yeah, failed again. So, on to round 7, hoping he might finally clap these enemies. He went back to swinging that blade like a maniac, desperate to buff his stamina stats. When the system finally went ding kong, let out a massive scream of relief. But after that crazy grind, his legs turned to jelly and he face planted into the dirt. He just lay there beside his weapon, gasping for air like a fish out of water. Suddenly, ping, his eyes shot open at the sound of a new pop-up window. Dude was shook when he saw the text. Basic swordsmanship, skill created. Rank F, unlocked. Basically, it fixes his stance, so he stopped swinging like a total clumsy noob. Kang was super hyped about the update, all that sweating and suffering actually paid off. Boom. Instant motivation, recharge to go wreck those nasty green creeps. His eyes went full crazy mode. He was deleting every monster today, period. The second stage was set up with 5 of those bloody goblins waiting for a beating, to guard at the front gate while the rest were camping in the backwoods. Honestly, the first 2 were total pushovers. He sniped the first with a crossbow and sliced the second one into ribbons. Easy. Kong could have mowed down the others, like before, but the final boss, that guy was no joke. A massive warrior holding a giant axe blocking, that thing is a nightmare. Whatever our boy leveled up enough to handle a brute like this, the beast was ticking off that some puny, rude human wasn't instantly dying to its power. Kong threw up his shield just in time to eat a heavy axe smash. Weirdly, he could see every move in slow-mo now. It was like cheating. It felt like his body was dodging on autopilot before his brain even caught up. Using that new skill, he put everything into a massive counterswing. He closed the gap, got right in the monster's face, but dang it, missed the kill shot. The goblin glared, totally pissed off by the tiny scratch on its cheek. That's when Kong realized His stamina bar was blinking red after fighting just for guys. Okay, when he wasn't looking so sure anymore, the monster swung that axe again, trying to squash the annoying bug. Clang, a sword went flying out of Kang's hand. How did he even reach that far? Weaponless Kang had to dodge like crazy. One slip up now and he's toast. But hey, he managed it. Since he didn't dump all his points into endurance for nothing, the goblin looked confused. Why won't this kid just stay down? Kong realized the beast was a sadist. It wasn't trying to kill fast. It wanted to play with its food. So, our main dude, finally, blinded the goblin with dirt classic pocket sand, then roasted him for being too slow. The ugly guy started rubbing his eyes, totally losing track of where our hero was. Congo Han didn't lag. He grabbed a nearby rock to keep the combo going. He got low and aimed right at the confused goblin's shin. That's gonna hurt. He swung that rock like a baseball bat, going for max damage. Mr. Goblin totally didn't see the ankle breaker coming and shrieked loud enough to wake the dead. Still blind as a bat, the beast just flailed around, praying for a lucky hit. But our boy was long gone. Dude was fast on his feet, sneaking right behind the enemy to charge up his finisher. The goblin finally blinked his eyes open, realizing his target had ghosted him. Our hero, still clutching his trusty rock like a pro weapon, jumped the guy, yelling about how OP he is. Bonk! The rock smashed the goblin's skull. Instant cut. Red stuff sprayed everywhere. As he face planted into the dirt, Kong Hoon let out a breath. Now that was a real boss fight. Kinda boring that the mob just died without a second phase. Though, ding, the system popped up saying he finally beat level 2. Reward: 5 stat points and a sweet new weapon. He also unlocked shield and crossbow skills. The dude was hyped about the win. This is what being a top-tier player feels like. Those goblins, total trash mobs. Leaving the sword, the forest echoed. His maniacal laughter. He couldn't stop celebrating. Meanwhile, morning hit the real world. Time for Kung Han to log out and wake up. He was stoked about the nice morning, but Kana wanted his bed back. To celebrate surviving stage 2, he decided to whip up a legendary breakfast. He figured the food tasted amazing, even though his cooking usually sucks. Suddenly, he heard a loud noise. Behind him, sounds like Sis is up. Kungayan was shook hearing her bro beat the second trial. Right then, they both got a ping. Sista is now live outside training mode. Also, dungeons are now open for business. The siblings raced to the balcony to check the view. Their jaws dropped at the crazy scene outside. Giant gates spawned right outside their crib, making everyone gawk. Hun and Ian clocked it. Was totally caused by that system ping. They froze, watching a dungeon entrance crash the busy street. Peeps swarmed fast to check out the weird artifact thingy. Catch was, only awakened dudes could enter. Beat the clock to win the quest. Simple as that. Huan Dimension Link Up was creeping closer. Once that weird dungeon popped up, the world went chaos mode. So they bunkered down, doom scrolling for intel. Hun guessed the tutorial wasn't done since Fresh 80. As for Ian, she saw the chat blowing up over the dungeon, folks calling it a rushed move to send awakened noobs, and our MC wasn't shook by the drama. Just saw a post about toggling status screens. Sis tried lecturing him on Hood's rule, but Hoon ignored her and tried summoning his, but the dude totally flopped. Q. The major cringed silence. Then a pop-up said, "Training incomplete, feature locked." Bummer. He remembered there were 8 whole stages. Took him 7 tries for stage 2. Others aced them all. He straight up asked Sis for a skip button. Didn't want to waste XP or energy. Ayan was like, "Patience pays. Bruh." Plus, nobody knew squat about stage 2. He knew he got a scrap again, but he was buff Nuno, embarrassing Ellis this time. Night fell. Hun went to beat stage 3 and bumped into a mob instantly. He dove in a bush, right where the beast decided to take a leak. Gross, but he had to hold his breath or get cut. Stage 3 tests your grit. And chill survive, wreck the Gurkha boss. Reward sweet camo gear. Hun, never heard of that creep before. Figured he better spot the main target first. Before making moves, he checked his loot. Post stage 2, he popped the menu. Loved seeing his skills leveled up big time. Dumped points into strength and stamina. Totally clut. Added 2 dexterity for kicks. Hun felt something fishy. Ignored the points to hunt for that sweet loot in the messy menus. Then Bingo Anotif said, "Check inventory. Surprise, gift time, baby. That shiny sword icon, he nabbed in stage 1. Yeah, it was screaming his name. He yanked that weapon straight out, ready to slice and dice for this quest. Dude was totally shook by the power. Seriously, coolest thing he'd ever seen. Gear check. Done. Time for Kong Hyun to hunt Gorka and clear this ob. While trekking to the target, he recalled Carlos Hathcock, that GOAT Marine sniper who crawled for days just to clap a general. Massive respect unlocked. Because right now, he's living that same nightmare. finally wormed his way to the enemy base and wondered ... Should he just go full beast mode? Beefy guards were posted all around the zone. So yeah, his stealth plan, gonna be tricky. Being here sucked. His gear was wet, sticky, and gross. 0 stars. The grass was super prickly and creepy bugs were partying on his skin. Snap. Footsteps. He froze solid so he wouldn't get spotted. One massive guard wandered off solo. Rookie mistake, buddy. But Kong Hyan wasn't exactly hidden well. Bam. Some jerk was standing right over him. He knew he gotta chill. Cause the game said, prove your patience. Ooh-ha quests. But he was literally shaking with rage. So embarrassing. Brain said, asterisk. Stay calm. Eyes on the prize. Don't snap asterisk. But his patience just hit 0%. He couldn't take it. So he went totally feral. He burst from the bushes and rushed the shocked NPC. Surprise. My guy was so tilted he screamed, I'm gonna decapitate you right now. In a flash, Kong Hyan closed in and swung his blade before the dude could even react. The mob got launched. Way back by that critical hit. Tears were literally streaming from under the guards. Masky knew it was GG before it even started. Meanwhile, our boy stuck the landing and smirked at the wrecked foe. Another guard ran over screaming, but Kong Hyan didn't flinch. The mobs were salty that an outsider crashed the party and deleted their friend. He yelled intruder, and the whole camp went into alert mode. Every single villager lit, grabbed torches and rushed to flatten the intruder ASAP. Seconds later, our hero was boxed in while chilling by a corpse. Dude knew he was cooked, so he dropped the line he'd been saving. He cheerfully dared all these scrubs to come at him one by one, unlocking a 6th skill. Lion's roar of fury. Suddenly, blood and masks went eating everywhere as Kong Hyan raged, but our boy let out a massive yell too. That roar nerfs enemy stats, tanks there. Morale, wipes, debuffs, and unchains, some serious inner rage. Plus, the kid actually picked up some tricks from crawling for 10 hours back in round 1. Time to put those stealth moves to the test. He'd clocked that Gurkhas goons hunted all day, returning at dusk. So, Kong Hyan figured the base was basically empty. During the day, making it easy to wreck the few weaklings on guard. After clearing the trash, he sprinted for the boss tent. He dashed inside, hyped to throw hands with the tribal chief, grinning like a maniac. He told the big cheese he was ready to chat. Then he froze, totally shook by what was actually waiting in that giant tent. Chief wasn't solo. He had 2 buff, mage, bodyguards. The chief just pointed, signaling his minions to squash the intruder. The mages straight up, listened, and started chanting some creepy Kong Hyan went totally numb, unable to move a muscle. System alert. He'd been hit by a cheap paralysis spell that locked him down. He racked his brain and remembered that Lion's roar of fury cleanses low tier, garbage effects. Taking a breath, he triggered his one-shot at victory. Power exploded out, shattering the paralysis instantly. Chief Gurkha didn't think a tiny kid could do that and panicked hard. While the bad guys were totally confused, our hero stepped up and sliced his target. Everyone has a plan until they get wrecked, he noted. Boom. Stage 3 cleared. In 2 days, way better than the full week Stage 2 took. With that kind of epic win, the hero decided he must just be a total genius. He figured he'd crush Stage 4 in literal minutes. He pictured himself as a total Chad Knight, wrecking huge monsters in one hit. That was his vibe a month back. Then he woke up, test passed. It's been 25 days since the squad hit the dungeons. News says they've cleared half the country's dungeons. Awakened are grinding. GOV might drop bonus cash. Kong Hyan, hearing the news, cooked breakfast while vibing to it. He woke up screaming. So she warned him, neighbors are gonna call the cops on you. Figured he got arrow shot the head again, but he swaggered out of his room claiming he wrecked everyone. He bragged about the easy kills. Sis didn't care. Anyway, she meant to give Kong Hyan props for acing the trials. But she looked up and totally froze. Bro had a massive glow. Scrawny, phase over. She wondered what went down in his dream. She sat, confused by his weird morning vibe. The main guy, who was fuming, said the training was pure torture. She felt his dark aura. Dude looked like a convict. Finally, explained the stage was a group project on leadership. The mission was to lead the squad to smash the core. Total RPG style. He watched his team argue about retreating cause loot was low. Despite the haters, they decided to push forward. So he yelled to hype them up and took point. Sis figured they were doing okay. So why'd the level take a whole month? That triggered him, lighting his rage back up. He said a toxic couple started drama at night. Kong Hyan, mouthful, started ranting that they were supposed to take shifts. They tried to bail, and he took the L, stopping him. Sis was annoyed and told him to swallow his food before talking. He gulped and said the NPCs were stuck on repeat. So, using his big brain, he finally found a loophole. Sis paused, asking how he actually beat the stage. Our hero looked absolutely bonkers, eyes blazing wild, saying he'd squash the pests and keep trucking along. Picking up from the last part, the squad started bickering. Kong Hai got sick of the yapping and bellowed to make them listen. One girl had to plug her ears cause he screamed so loud. The main dude didn't waste time and pointed his blade to shut him up. Then he announced he's the boss. From here on out, whine or resist, and you're basically toast. That girl's partner thought Kong Hyen was totally losing it. The boss didn't bother. With Manderson smashed a fist right into the guy's mug. He threw more hits while they froze, reminding them, no whining. By the end, the dude's face was wrecked, shocking his girlfriend. Meanwhile, the guy with the icy stare said to just follow him since he knows the route. The squad moved out, and right on the path, they bumped into a freaky living skeleton. Kong Hyen just grabbed the sharp blade with his bare hand. The dude already had the power to twist the enemy's sword back instantly. Seizing the moment, our brave hero pulled his gear and bashed the skeleton with his handle. The bones crumbled, and the scared team asked if that was it. The minions were shocked that the main guy actually wrecked all those monsters. Soon enough, the squad reached the mission objective. Kong Hyen figured this was what the core looked like and figured he just had to smash the pillar to win. He thought this was way too easy for him and grabbed his sword, handle tight. One hit, totally wrecked the whole setup holding the core. The system pinged that he cleared the 4th training stage and got a bunch of sweet loot again. He still had no clue what the magic stone was for, but hey, hoard it now. Find a use later, right? He also grabbed a ring blocking mental magic rank A in lore. In reality, none of this was a big deal for after those trials, he got buff in real life too. So 300 push-ups were a piece of cake now. Our hero noticed bodyweight workouts were getting lame. He figured it was time to actually hit a real gym. Just then, Kang Hyen's phone buzzed with a weird notification that totally grabbed his focus. He quickly snapped up the device, figuring it was just another lame ad or spam. Nope, way worse. A massive red alert flashed on the screen. Dungeon break nearby, meaning everyone needed to chill indoors and not panic. But outside, total chaos. Screams ripped through the air as the first unlucky souls got hit. Tons of goblins were already loose, wrecking everything and attacking anyone in sight. The locals scrambled to escape the nasty critters, but sadly, not everyone made it out. Our guy figured this was the perfect time to test his skills since he'd signed up for a dungeon raid anyway. Then it hit him Kong Hyen was at work and definitely in trouble. He scrambled to find anything that could bash a goblin's head in. Panic set in. Seriously, not even a basic sword lying around. He was fuming. Taking a breath, he spotted something decent in the kitchen mess. Buried in a stack of gross plates, a sharp knife shined. Better than nothing, right? He bolted out the door and started hollering like crazy to get the monsters to look at him. The goblins were shook. After crushing so many weaklings, they didn't think anyone would actually fight back. Meanwhile, our hero realized his powers were still glitchy outside the training zone. Whatever. Thanks to his loud entrance, every single goblin was now staring him down. They didn't wait. The beasts charged, ready to tear apart this cocky human, but the dude wasn't. Scary just laughed, barely hearing the noise these level 2 scrubs were making. Though, honestly, who knew if these things were as weak as the practice ones? He shrugged off the doubt and squeezed the knife handle hard. Anyway, their clumsy moves gave it away low level. No sweat. One goblin gurgled its last breath. A kitchen knife stuck right through its skull. Drenched in blood, Kong Hyen smirked, silently, thanking the monsters for showing up. He kicked the carcass aside, realizing that knife was actually kinda legit. Versatile little tool. Scene switch. The nearby office where Kang Hyen was stuck on the clock. The staff had locked themselves in a room, staring at the door, while goblins banged on the other side. Suddenly, fresh noises made everyone stiffen up in fear. Kang Hyen was there, gripping her phone like a lifeline. She was clearly freaking out about her big bro, having zero clue where he was right now. She spammed his DMS like crazy, but bro was too swamped to text back. Suddenly, 2 monster screeches, and the noise of a total brawl echoed outside. Then the furniture fort crashed down from a massive hit. Next SE, a bloody sneaker stomped onto a locker. Hero arrival. Dude said sorry for crashing the party, claiming he didn't mean to wreck stuff. Drenched in enemy gore, he still said hi to his sis, the whole reason he came. All the staff were confused by this psycho who managed to smash through the monster mob Kong Hyen's bro. No way. He totally ignored the fact that all eyes were glued to him and just scanned his sis's office. Someone in the back got salty with him, grabbing his attention. This old dude, red with rage, yelled at Kong Hyen for busting their safety wall. He laughed awkwardly, admitting he couldn't control his own strength. Bro also said, chill out, stepping aside to reveal the piles of dead goblins. Everyone froze, shook, disbelief that one normal guy soloed that many enemies. Kang Hyun pointed at the goblin loot and told M to grab some blades, just in case. Not sure how long they'd last, but if they didn't freak out, they'd wreck the enemies easily. He added that on his way up, he saw way more goblins, so the upper floors might be in. Anyway, he felt they should all catch some Z's tonight. Before bed, Kang Ayan helped her big bro clean up his battle scars. He told her not to waste water on him. Since they gotta save supplies, the sis agreed he's cool, but asked why he gets beat up so much. Kang Hun guessed it's cause he hasn't learned to dodge, but his healing is OP, so he can tank hits. Anyway, sis told him to watch out, since respawning isn't a thing here. She noticed that the monster-smashing rampage was insane, but he knew it looked epic. Still, Kang Awan thought other peeps saw things differently, hinting at her She noted some older ladies asked for an intro and wanted his take on it. She asked his type, and he got all shy thinking about it. Finally, Kang Hoon said he needs a girl cool with a guy who curses right after waking up, making his sis scream at the whole office when she caught his drift. Post-check, everyone crashed, but bro saw that classic system pop up again. Dude just realized amidst the drama, totally spaced on the test, he had to ace. Read the prompt and boom mobbed by fresh NPCs instantly. Just a squad of absolute stunners, chatting it up. But, heads up, one's definitely a succubus. One girl tried to chill the squad cause the vibe was getting weird. Honestly, Kang Han didn't stress it. He just stood there, vibing with the gorgeous strangers. Then the system, Ping Day mission, is to wreck a succubus hiding as a human. He knew those demons are famous for looking fire. Snag is, every girl here is a total 10 out of 10. Then this one chick slides up, asking what he thinks of the mess. She was dying to know Hyun's take on the demon, but he blanked cause she was hot and smelled amazing. Looking away, the flustered dude turned red, saying he's got zero clues. He tried to speak, but a pop-up jacked his attention. Turns out Hottie charmed him, but his mind ring said, nope. By sunset, the whole temp squad camped smack in the woods. While the crew got cozy, our main guy sat by the fire, rethinking his life choices. Flashbacks hit Kang hard. Nasty memories stuck from the early training. Grindy was just hyped to finally have some fun after suffering through those missions. He knew he had to fix his face. Spotting the succubus paints a huge target on his back. Our guy figured this demon was OP, blending in and packing magic. Kang decided he gotta use an NPC to bait the succubus out. Need an end dude who's susceptible to the spell. After thinking, he crawled into his bag to crash. Next sec, he's somewhere else, staring at a weirdly familiar ceiling. Bolted up screaming, he was back at Ian's office. Staff hyped up when he woke cause they had news. The army finally showed up to help. Dude didn't care. He just thought the succubus caught on and smoked him while he slept. Realized he had to lock in on reality, asking who came to save them. Outside, streets packed with khaki tanks. City looked like a total war zone. Armored trucks slammed the brakes. Geared up soldiers, bail out. Securing the zone, ASA. Some camped out, blasting straight from the trucks, aiming at the leftover goblin. Basic mobs got wrecked by real guns, dropping like flies. Our main guy didn't blink, eyes glued. The window, watching the army do their thing. Staff thought they were chill, since army guns beat monsters. But Kang Hyun knew this wasn't gonna be Suddenly, he tensed up. His gut screamed bad vibes incoming. He kept watching, but the creepy feeling stuck. Danger sense was tingling, even while soldiers were winning. Hero tried scanning the map, but enemies were spawning literally everywhere. Soldiers only had time to reload, spamming bullets nonstop. Some panicked at the infinite spawn rate, but just kept shooting. One dude was salty. This ruined his break. Send the pros, not me. Meanwhile, another soldier got stuck one-on-one with a weird, buff goblin. Turns out, this mob tanks regular ammo, so it closed the gap. And game over. Campers in the back were confused. Why is he so? Trooper yelled his squad. Wasted, but gunfire drowned him out. He peeked out, trying to tell his team a bulletproof boss just spawned. The beast just walked forward, eating headshots like snacks. Its skin was like cheat code armor, 0 damage taken. Shooting just made the big guy rage. He charged, totally unstoppable. The army didn't even know the boss mechanics or how to beat it. They kept spraying at the enemy, but he was charging a super move. Goblin leaped, swinging to clear the trash mobs. Soldiers knew it was game over. They stared at the shadow about to squash them. Monster wiped the squad. In one truck, smashing it into the others. MC watched, horrified. His gut was right. Staff saw the mess and had zero clue what to do. Meanwhile, the gobbo was totally wrecking. Everyone left, like some apex predator ninja. Kang Hyun watched the whole mess through the window. totally frozen. For a sec, the beast paused behind the pile of wrecked books. Then it snapped its head up, staring right at where our MC was peeping. Elsewhere, the other squad had zero clue their buddies up front just got deleted. Most were hurt but alive. Unlike Squad 3, which was toast, Corporal Zhang, brain fried, hunted for a radio guy to spam send help ASA. Dude clutched his splitting head. Like, ow, and couldn't process how everything went so wrong, so fast. He tried to speak, but choked when he saw the beast spotting fresh meat. The thing licked its lips, looking at the buffet of humans left. Corp instantly asked the radio dude about backup. The reply, one civilian incoming. Lita wasn't exactly thrilled that their rescue was weak sauce. He figured they were cooked. The gobbo prepped to pounce, and Jun felt like he'd snap from how lame this was. He snapped out of it, raising his rifle for a final stand. Then he realized the gun was busted and jammed right now. Talk about bad timing. The beast got closer, swinging its weapon, but the corp was too scared to even move. Finally, our capable civilians showed up to help, lugging a massive rock as a weapon. Guy yeeted that boulder with max power. The gobbo didn't see it coming and couldn't dodge. Even that tank couldn't take the hit. Face grimaced hard. The hit launched the monster way past the truck, embedding it into the road. The goblin just lay there, cold and totally harmless for now. Corp June was shook by this random dude's skills. He couldn't believe what he just saw. Our MC just sighed in relief, asking if the soldier was Gucci, looking kinda creepy. He noted the corp must be having a rough time. A scary grin spread on Kong Hyen's face, killing the vibe for a chat. Zhang Jun looked more terrified of our hero than the monster. He instantly aimed his gun at the MC, thinking he was a beast. But Kang Hyun tried to chill him out real quick. Corp was so freaked, he asked twice if the guy was actually human. The soldier was shook that a Rondo volunteer had those skills. Even though our boy looked wrecked, he hopped up and said, "My bad, fighting makes me loopy." Jung Jun thanked him, but the main character just shrugged, saying he didn't need thanks to us serving up some justice. Then he peeked behind the soldier and saw the hobgoblin actually getting back up for round 2, and that monster was giving him the creepiest death stare. If the army wiped here, those creeps would swarm me in next. Kung Hun knew he couldn't just stand there vibing. So, yelling, "Hold your fire," he yeeted himself off the truck to 1v1 the beast. Last second, he asks, "Yo, got any spicy tear gas?" Jung Jun's like, "Yeah, we stay strapped." Hero said, "Toss it," leaving the corporal totally confused. The soldier tried to tell him to grab a mask first, but he was like, "No time to explain." Kang Haeon, stressed, again, "Don't friendly fire me or we're all toast." Kang Haeon was watching from the office window as the squad scrambled. The protagonist was already up in the monster's face, ready to clutch the win. He absolutely hated this gross goblin. It had to go. Meanwhile, the troops prepped the gas grenades, like he asked. Total standoff. Just feet apart. Awkward silence. Goblin finally spots something flying over. What's that? Boom. The zone flooded. With invisible gas, it didn't hit right away. Then the goblin's eyes started leaking like a fountain. Burned bad. Heroes hacking up a lung tuno mask life. But he knew the drill from before. Disorient the enemy. It worked on the small fry. Figured the tanky goblin was a total wimp with pain. But our guy, he eats pain for breakfast. So he charged in. Full send. First move. Snatched the weapon. He slapped the spear away, leaving the goblin helpless. Then he went beast mode with lightning fast combos, pummeling it so it couldn't even look up. Kang Hoon was shaking though. This boss fight was legit hard. The soldiers watched, jaws dropped, thinking, is this guy awakened? Some Rondo walked up behind the soldier like, "Yo, what's the tea here?" Turns out, dude was Spec Ops, and totally shook because he thought he was the only backup called in. This mystery guy's face was masked up, so nobody had a clue who he actually was. Our MC needed a breather. Since his attacks were doing zilch to the baddie, he was low-key crying, but gritted his teeth and didn't quit for a sec. The goblin clearly thought these hits were total weak sauce. But if this kept up, Kang Hyen would gas out fast. Kang Hoon wondered if he needed cyber buff since his cuts were weak. Suddenly, a shadow zoomed in and slashed the monster deep, interrupting the duel. Finally, the ugly beast screamed because Mr. SWAT actually sliced him good. Our hero was shook by the speed and couldn't ID the guy. But the fighter noticed. Hitting this thing felt like stabbing a brick wall. Suddenly, the soldier turned to Kang Hoon, chillin' nearby, and said this boss was just a frank trash. Our boy got hyped again thinking, if the defense is OP, there's gotta be a weak spot somewhere. Didn't know the ally, but the dude seemed pro, so he rolled with it. Kang Hoon warned he was weak sauce physically and running on empty, but the mystery dude could tell just by looking. The kid swung again, wondering what the soldier's deal was while totally drained. Eventually, our guy saw his weapon was useless no matter how hard he tried. He knew he had to switch it up and scan for a better weapon. Right then, he spotted the goblin spear he'd just knocked away earlier. The warrior said he had the speed but lacked the DPS for the kill, so he told our hero to hit the crit spot while he could. Seeing it was Dordai Kong, Hun grabbed the spear fast to help out. The guy realized it was a distraction, but the monster knew and kept guarding. The MC started scanning for where he should strike, betting the joint skin was squishy. He quit overthinking and went for the softest spot on the goblin. Looks like the brave dude managed to find the unarmored bit. The monster froze in total shock. The warrior didn't expect him to actually find a weak point. Turns out, the target was the monster's butt, which was totally exposed. Kong Hoon froze for a sec and thought, for a split second, he almost felt bad for the ugly brute. As the hit connected, a weird question popped into his head. Is a kick to the booty actually a legit critical hit? He doubted a butt shot caused instant death. Whatever, his instincts took over to end this creep's career. In a blink, the guy was already flipping that massive hunk of meat right over his shoulder. He smashed the stunned beast into the pavement with his spear. The goblin's eyes blazed, furious because nobody had ever embarrassed him like that before. Talk about cringe. Kong Hoon didn't let up, tossing the dude like a rat. But he wasn't about to let this monster chill, yet he figured the beast had to be soft somewhere inside. So he swung his weapon again, aiming for a total knockout. The goblin was already out cold on the asphalt, totally wrecked. Didn't stop him from plunging his spear into the defenseless mob. He was puffing super hard after burning so much stamina on that combo. Meanwhile, the SWAT dude was just chilling in the back, totally shook that a random normie was this OP. He couldn't figure out where this pro came from. Definitely not a registered user. Suddenly, our boy spotted something cool on the dead goblin. A shiny thing popped up by its head. Total loot drop vibes. The system quit. That item stats were locked because the tutorial wasn't over. Kang Hyen snagged the mystery loot anyway. SWAT guy tried to walk up and warn him, but got cut off. The kid knew that. Normally, you gotta share loot with the squad. But since Mr. SWAT barely helped, he wasn't getting squat. Ignoring the stranger, he bailed, shouting about urgent stuff. The officer tried to stop him, but only caught a smirk as Kang Hyen pieced out. The soldier stood there, frozen, watching the guy dodge the chat. He realized the gas cleared up, so he finally ditched the mask. Turns out, hiding under, there was a total hottie. Now stressing over who that mystery beastslayer was, a few hours later, as the sun dipped, the city chillaxed a bit. Post-fight, our duo trekked through the streets, which looked like a zombie movie set, heading home. The siblings finally made it back, once night fully hit. Stepping inside, day froze. The view was something else. Bro definitely forgot to lock up, cause the place was trashed. She realized she was a clown for thinking he'd matured. Nope, still a man-child. Totally ignoring potential. Creepers. She opted to tidy up and hunt for snacks. Assuming there was actual food to raid. Chores done. The duo scrounged up a passable dinner. They inhaled it in silence. Social batteries. Totally drained. Meanwhile, Sis was doom-scrolling and spotted something spicy. She let out a gasp. Bra looked over, confused. She didn't explain, just shoved the phone in his face. He froze. Jaw on the floor. Someone leaked footage of his goblin viral gold. He grabbed the phone, squinting to confirm it was really him. Sis figured a bystander, filmed it, but he skipped the logic and dove straight into the comments. Most thought it was CGI or a movie clip, which was a relief. He expected a total roast session. Then he saw the hype. His ego inflated instantly. Sis was lost, wondering why he was tripping out. He finally snapped, annoyed they were nitpicking his handsome mug. He checked again, realizing his scary face was freaking people out. He flopped into bed, begging Sis to hit the lights. She rolled her eyes at such a lazy request, but did it anyway, since he'd had a rough one. In exchange, she demanded quiet tomorrow. She was beat. He promised to keep it chill, offering to buy her a beer and chat later. Then he hit the pillow, trying to knock out for study time. But his brain wouldn't quit. He stared blankly at the roof, thinking about that buff SWAT guy's power level. Whatever, he decided. Pointless to stress. He'd hit stage 8 and surpassed them all anyway. Mind cleared. He drifted off to his training dimension. Secretly, he thought, that demon girl was a total babe, succubus or not. Who cares if it's just training? He needed another peek, eyes peeling open, ready for the view. Finally, all he saw was a gross goblin sniffing his personal space. Kang Hoon decked the unwelcome creep. Super fast, totally startled by the sudden pop. The beast stood zero chance and got yeeted into the distance. Level 1 trash, instantly code and harmless. He scanned the area, wondering why that mob spawned there. Then a system alert popped up, saying he had to dodge a goblin horde and clear the dungeon to win. Kang Hoon had no clue why the rules flipped so wildly. missed the mob surrounding him from every side. They crept up on his back while he just chilled there. Dude was legit furious that the game changed the objective so cheaply. He gritted his teeth super hard, unable to hold back the rage. He screamed his annoyance at the woods. So, waking up that morning, Kang Haeon still flaked on his sister. Scene switched to a nearby mart echoing with battle noises. Some psychos punches totally wrecked the face of the guy inside. Moving like a storm, the stranger tossed foes like toys. His next target was literally choking on red stuff. Yet, he still wondered why this brutal kid went so far. Also, he couldn't get how someone untrained could be stronger than a skilled user. The kid squeezed his victim, noting that words change nothing. Since strength is useless if you can't actually fight, turns out, this weirdo came here cause of Kang Hoon's online vid. The bad guy was way too stoked to see so many cool users hanging around. Meanwhile, our lead hit round 3 of stage 5 training. He had to spot a mimic monster hiding among folks and eating them nightly. He instantly noted it was like finding that succubus in round 1. After mulling over the rules of these quests, he realized it was basically just playing Mafia. The kid figured that in a spot like this, he needed smarts to beat the level. Our hero took a deep breath to address the whole squad. He loudly ordered everyone to huddle up and plan the next move. The fighters stared in shock, not expecting such a loud boss. They all froze, totally stunned, eyes glued to the lead, waiting for his words. Kang Hun cleared his throat to speak to the NPCs hiding the monster. Looking scary, he declared that anyone who moves is guilty. Morning hit fast, leaving only the bitter taste of a failed test. Brow realized it's like Mafia. The loudmouths always get yeeted first. Waking up, it hit him. He's never actually caught a dub in this game. Kang Hyen didn't expect to be riding the fail bus for 6 whole weeks. That night, our guy got all dressed up to link with his sis. He nervously fixed his specs, drowning in a stiff suit. That looked like a kid trying way too hard to be a Sis was shook when she saw her brother, looking totally bizarre. She just got off work and didn't have energy for this circus. Our hero claimed the new look was to fix his internal vibes. She begged him to stop with the nonsense, and he got salty about the massive cringe on her face. Kang Hoon was confused, because he thought this fit was the ultimate disguise. Sis roasted him. Glasses don't boost IQ, and geniuses don't read trash like that anyway. She didn't even mention the book was upside down, just that the suit was way too tight on him. Then it clicked. Brew had zero clue how to wear a suit. Kang Ayan was fuming. They're broke, and this guy wastes cash on cosplay. He swore it was from savings, but she was losing her mind dealing with him. She was mad he was such a dummy, so he tried to calm her down to explain his logic. He said he died 50 times on stage 5. He needed a reboot. Sis sarcastically. A brain transplant would be faster than him getting smart. He tried to argue, but she'll cut him off. You're just doing the same dumb stuff. She told him to buy soundproofing instead, cause the lady downstairs is blasting bass. After the roast, he slept and woke up in the cave. Time to prove he's got brains to survive. He spun around to check what stupid quests popped up. To pass, he had to wipe the F-rank dungeon and smash the spider eggs. Our boy was hyped. Finally, simple instructions. Boom! A spitting tarantula showed up to wreck him. Kang Hyon charged the giant spider immediately. No other options anyway. Finally, a choice so easy, he didn't have to think. He was confused though. Since when do spiders spit? He stared at his hand. That weird goo was sizzling, and he knew it was toxic. Bad news. Our main guy realized the vibe was getting way too intense, so he readied his blade. He literally chopped his own arm off to stop the poison. Savage. Even the spider boss was shook by how crazy this dude was. Kang Hoon slid right under the beast. No way it could dodge from that angle. The adrenaline was hitting so hard that losing a limb felt like nothing. Pure beast mode. The system pinged a hint. Find the weak spot in the nest. He ignored the tutorial, lunged forward, and smacked the tarantula dead on. His stats were so cracked that he split the bug in half. Why use brain cells when you have brute force? He completely ghosted the system's advice. Figured logic was optional if the enemy ended up dead. Thinking is for people with bad stats. He just flexed his giant strength and buffs. Cut to the next morning. Back at the high school grind. Some kid was bugging Minsu, whose birthday was today. Bro, let me sleep, Minsu groaned. Up all night training. Then the friend realized, wait, you turned 18? Did you clear the first stage? Minsu was stressing. There are 0 guides for level 5. His buddy dropped some intel. Clearing stage 4 puts you in the top 1%. Elite. He also spilled the tea. Rumors say someone crushed stage 7 yesterday. He thought it was fake, but pulled out his phone. The forums were actually blowing up. Some guy posted about wrecking mobs in stage 6 and targeting enemies in the next. Minsu called cap just clickbait for likes. The comments were roasting the post, calling it trash. The main character was super salty. He gave them pro tips, and they hated. Kang-han couldn't get why. His sister was yelling. He complained that he shared the metastrat, but nobody believed him. His sis just laughed at him for being a but our hero wasn't about to quit. Just wait till I clear stage 8. He swore he'd be on a levelist those legendary guild leaders soon. Kangen, Dister brother, no way he matched those instant pro geniuses. Night fell, and our hero drifted into a dream. A pop-up asked, "Start the final stage." Turns out, beaten stage 6 snagged him a Barank weapon. Bill Gans, stage 7. He got Ronald's armor. Self-repairing swag. Kunha knew if he crushed stage 8, he'd keep the loot IRL and check that hobgoblin drop. Honestly, he didn't expect a one-shot win. Feared it'd take a week plus. Bam! Another notification grabbed his eyeballs. He froze. The system was grilling him on his deep beliefs? Weird. Paused for a sec. Why the sudden pop quiz? Then, a sharp jolt nearly swept him off his feet. Kong-hun looked up. Whoa! The walls were cracking. He lowered his gaze and saw the floor shattering too. Super sketchy. Suddenly, the ground just bailed on him. He flailed his arms, trying to grab something, but just clawed at air. Plunged into the abyss, screaming his head off. Squeezed his eyes shut. Didn't want to see the splat? He flinched, snapping. Out of the dark, eyes scanned the weird new spot. Realized he was smack in a busy city street. Confused, he missed how he got there and didn't see the girl ahead. She walked right through him. Ghost mode? What the heck? Am I just a blob now? First time Kang-han saw this in training. Maybe a spot on Earth. Then he saw a weird couple approaching. Finally, it clicked. He definitely wasn't in his home world. Closer look. Not humans. Freaky humanoids. Even the kids had twisted, unnatural faces. Yikes! Totally lost on where he was. He just stood there, baffled. Felt eyes on him. A walker was staring back. This weirdo looked at him like he was the crazy one. So, someone could actually see him. Alien kept staring, but maybe not right at him. Bad vibes hit. He realized the weirdo wasn't staring at him, but past him. Turns out, creeping behind the guy was a mega horde of beasts, wrecking everything in sight. Kang-hoon clicked and spun around, totally freaking at the chaos behind him. Humanoids screamed gibberish and bolted every which way. Freaky mobs of every size dashed into the street, hunting down easy prey. Hero peeped. The crowd saw some OG monsters he knew, but also new creeps he'd never faced in trials yet. Realized this was a whole new level versus that basic dungeon 2 months back. Kang-han was shook. It looked like straight-up doomsday. Bruh. Guess this is Earth in 5 years post-Howen merge. Hero was so gagged by the thought. He froze up, couldn't even twitch a muscle. Spotted a massive shadow from a giant beast above. Kid looked up to see what nightmare was next. It was a ginormous, alien blob of pure dark energy vibes. Scary thing reached out, picking its next snack. Its main target was Kang-hoon, who was still stuck buffering. Last sec, he threw his hands up like that'd stop a kaiju. Spoiler. Nope. Boom. Body felt like it dusted on impact. Next sec, all the monsters glitched out. Bright flash hit our boy. Blink, and suddenly he's in a totally new zone, drowning in white light. Kang-hoon was tripping, trying to process the fail. Heard an alien voice ask, "How's the vibe, player?" Fell pulled to a glowing figure who owned the voice. Finally, felt. Florin scoped out his opponent. Figured he was facing Big G or something. Holy, mysterious creature smirked, shutting down his wild guesses. Said simply, "Think of me as a change admin." Kang-hoon waited for the one-on-one tea. Admin was like, "Don't be shy, ask away." Hero stood for a sec. Jaw dropped, processing the madness. Then got a grip. Yo, what did I just see? He demanded to know if Earth was totally screwed in 5 years. The admin shrugged, saying it all depends on how the players mess up. Kang-hoon couldn't get why these OP gods didn't just delete the problem themselves. The supreme thingy clapped back that he's just an admin, not a bodyguard. Basically, he just keeps the server dimensions from crashing. Status windows and tutorials were the only cheat codes he could offer. Then the admin flipped the script and decided to grill our hero, asking what makes him tick and why he even bothers living. Kang-hoon thought it was total cringe because the question was way too deep and seriously wondered what the point of that buzzkill was. The creature admitted he's just nosy after eons of binge-watching humans. Our boy was a tad salty about the sass, smirking that the admin wasn't paying attention, at least in his squad. Nobody wastes time on philosophical fluff. And everyone is just grinding daily quests, trying to snag a bit of happiness. The boss asked what he protects, and he proudly said his parents and bratty sister. The weird entity kept grilling him, asking if he ever thought about going full superhero. He explained that after a few deaths, he realized that Epic Gig was way too sweaty for a casual like him. The admin noted others have talent, but Kang-hoon Yeah, he's got 0 stats there. He confessed he was a total fanboy because he watched the young dude struggle bust his way up from level 1 and found the suffering hilarious. The player couldn't believe this guy seriously called his trauma entertainment. Our hero suddenly remembered the 5th stage about wisdom and asked if the quest objectives were RNG every time. The admin went suspiciously silent and dragged his feet answering, totally looking guilty about that setup. Suddenly, he announced time's up and vanished right in front of Kong Hun, leaving him on read without answers. Finally, the boss added the training was just the intro and harder levels await. He stressed that whether the player likes it or not, he's forced to be the hero who saves the entire server. The guy tried to stall the logout because he wanted to throw hands with the dev who designed that cursed 5th level torture. The admin just stood there watching as Kong Hun glitched out and vanished. He was hyping up the success of Mr. Kong Hun, who was now graduate number 6. Meanwhile, our MC jerked awake in bed but couldn't scream through the gag. The guy immediately knew the vibe was off and frantically tried to process the glitch. Turns out, it was a troll move by Kang Ayan, chilling on a nearby chair. The girl explained she was already prepped, ready for the noise, clamping a hand over her brother's mouth first. She giggled, realizing she'd totally gagged Kong Hun too. Silence, judging by his face, she figured he failed the final stage. But our guy just smirked. Sis had 0 clue. He actually crushed the tutorial and try 1. Time to flex. He decided to flash the holographic status window that finally worked, IRL too. Bro burst out laughing, looking crazy proud of his cheat codes. Slight issue, his sister saw literally nothing. She just patted his head and told him to go get a job. She even cooked him breakfast as a pity prize. Kong Hun got salty at the cold shoulder from his heartless sis. No wonder she's still single. Boom! A spatula smacked his face for that thought. Sis left, so he flopped on the couch to check his stats. The system pinged. He unlocked the training grad title. +2 to all stats. Honestly, kinda weak sauce. Also, titles don't stack. Gotta pick the one with the most juice? The Pop-Op confirmed his hunch. Unequipped titles only give half the buffs. Clearly, the grad title was the meta pick here. He equipped it, then grabbed the loot from that hobgoblin. He cracked open the box holding the mystery book. Hands shaking with hype, he grabbed the item and inspected it again, holding it up like a trophy. He willed it to ID and boom. Magic Blast, Skill Book. Kang Hun paused, brain buffering, as he realized what he just scored. He hugged the book tight, practically vibrating with joy. The dude was freaking out, but silently, because for months of solo grinding taught him to scream internally. System prompt, learn Magic Blast. Now, yes or no? Duh. He smashed that confirm button. The book dissolved into sparkles in his hands. Loot sorted. Now he could move on, feeling like a boss. With the gear handled, it was time to enroll at the Awakened Academy. Scene switch. We jumped to the school district downtown. A girl named Ayan was walking there too. She just landed a sweet civil service gig. Totally a huge deal for her. Her first task, handing out certs at the training center. The awakening system was moving fast, blowing up locally and going world. Am was hyped to see the newbies, thinking they were total hero material. Or so she thought like 2 hours ago. Until reality slapped her in the face, dealing with another awakened dude broker. This gig ain't easy. She was totally losing it. So, the poor girl just started bawling. Turns out, our MC looked so creepy he scared the life out of her. Ironically, his ID photo made him look super chill and harmless, totally unlike his scary IRL vibe. She mumbled for Kong Hyan's ID, so he couldn't hear a thing, and asked, "Huh?" She got so spooked by our hero's basic question that she flinched and let out a tiny squeak. Animian wondered why this awakened dude was tormenting her, but he wasn't even doing anything. He was just super confused. MC tried to defend himself, asking the girl what her deal was. He noticed everyone tuning into their awkward drama. The crowd totally thought the dude was bullying the staff or something to make her cry. Others whipped out phones to film it for the gram. Kong Hun freaked out and tried to fix the mess, cause he hadn't even touched the paperwork lady. Then some random guy walked up and asked what the heck was going on. It was instructor Kimmy Hun, wondering why the line was so slow. The boss froze for a sec. When he spotted the MC next to the girl, Kong Han was shook too, cause he felt like he knew the teach from somewhere. Kim Yoon thought the dude looked familiar, and our hero clocked the voice. The teach turned to poor Emin, told her to hand over the awakened guy's docs. He instantly saw the MC looked nothing like his pick. Kang Hyun swore his skills, changed his looks, and he wasn't faking it. Dude even offered to do a fingerprint or DNA swab if they didn't trust him. But the instructor was clearly curious about something else. Kim Yoon asked if our hero really grinded to the 5th stage. Even that was a lie. He lowballed his stats to stay under the radar. The teach saw the guy had a pretty high level and figured he probably did an illegal dungeon run. Our hero bluffed that he went before the law changed. Kim Hyun bought it. then asked about this manpower skill of his. Kang-hoon said the skill doubles his strength. The teach was cool with that. Thanked him, but had one last cue. There was a pattern, snagged a skill, some bling, and another pop. The teach was like, yo, peep, all that epic loot you managed to grab. Bro just shrugged and flexed his level 3 perk first. Kang-hoon literally chomped the skin off his arm to demo the magic. The proctor wasn't ready for that hardcore move. Then our boy held it up so Kim could watch the show. Kang-hoon focused up, and with the power of regen, he patched that gnarly bite. Seconds later, just a tiny scratch left. Teach realized dude unlocked the self-heal cheat. Next, the MC flashed the shiny ring he looted from stage 4. Then he recalled his Ogre 2 human strength swap and asked if he could unleash it right there. Kim was like, don't be shy, show me what you got. Turns out, that exact same supermarket psycho was also at registration. He was creeping around when he spotted the teach and our hero chatting it up. Kang-hoon sucked in air to flex his fear. Meanwhile, the creeper noticed. Dude looked exactly like the viral goblin killer. He was the first to get blasted by the skill. The dude behind him didn't get the ear covering yet. Suddenly, everyone in the whole lobby got hit by that deafening roar. Everyone plugged their ears, looking for the source. After flexing his pipes, Kang-hoon coughed lightly to reset his voice. Teach stared in horror, totally not expecting that. Our boy just grinned. That prove I'm strong? Kim was shook, but pulled it together. Sent him to floor to next door to finish up. Meanwhile, a twisted grin formed on the psycho's face. He was dying to meet the slayer. So, our main dude nearly got dumped for looking unlike his pick. But that savage roar totally saved his bacon. He hit the auditorium while everyone gossiped. He decided to snag some grub. He realized the crowd wasn't vibing with him. Mystery creep registered too. So, he sat right behind Kong, staring daggers. Teach and his squad rolled in. Thanks for waiting, guys. Kim Yoon did his intro spiel again. He's running the show at Shongnam's Noob Academy. The freshies clapped like fanboys immediately. Then he dropped the schedule. 10 whole days. Books in the AM, brawls in the PM, free food to... He didn't waste a second starting class. World went crazy 6 months ago, he reminded us. New dungeon info drops every single day. So, the meta is always changing, meaning nobody knows jack. I rolled my eyes hard. Kim Yun was like, today's facts might be trash soon. I'll just teach you how not to get deleted. Let's crush these 10 days. Yeah, whatever. Finally, he called halftime on the first session, gave us 10 minutes to breathe. Everyone started yapping or vibing on their own. Kang Hyan thought, this is torture. Boring as army drills. Seriously, 10 days of this? Just... Then, he spotted a shadow looming over his desk. Some jacked gym rat reached out. Joe, imegwaquil, wanted a handshake? Honestly, didn't think anyone had the guts to approach me after my drama. Wasn't vibin', why is this swole guy bugging me? Fine, I decided to dap him up anyway. Immediately, he flashed this super sus grin, like he was plotting something shady. I caught that look instantly. Red flag alert. Then he squeezed my hand like a vice. Let's be friends, he faked. Bro just wanted to humble me. Classic bully move. He's been salty since I made a scene earlier. Too bad for him. He didn't see the reverse card coming his way? He looked shook that I wasn't crying in pain. I was ticked off that he tried me. So, I triggered giant force. It juices my muscles with magic for 10 minutes. Guess that perk really comes in clutch right now. Cocky Guakwil suddenly realized he messed up big time. Grip get way harder. Panic mode engaged. Bro couldn't believe he was getting owned. About to loot a flex off despite dumping all his stats into power. With the whole squad watching, he couldn't just dip out like a loser. Bro just had to grit his teeth and try to survive the main character's insane grip. His veins were popping like crazy, maxed out to the limit. Then pop, his hand literally burst like a balloon, spraying red stuff everywhere, cause Kong squeezed way too hard. Guakwil's face was pure horror. Prank gone totally wrong. Even our guy didn't mean to go that ham. He just miscalculated his own SWA levels. Nearby students were dodging blood droplets like and that one possessed dude just watched the carnage, totally amused by the show. Creepy grint back on, blushing like a total fan. Someone finally called the medics for the squashed kid. Meanwhile, RMC was frantically trying to claim he just said hi, and the dude's arm imploded on its own. The teach wasn't buying the story, making Kong Hun stress out and almost lose his cool. He swore his giant strength buff only boosts power by 1.5 times. Without it, he would have been the one hurt, right? He told M to check the security cams for receipts. Kimmy seemed sus about something else though, since the kid called his skill manpower earlier. Plus, didn't he say it was a double boost, not 1.5? Our hero shrugged it off, claiming he just sucks at math. Classic excuse. Teats kept glaring at him, super intense. Finally, the teacher sighed. Too much drama for one day. He let Kang Hun off the hook and back to class. Kang flopped into his chair, thinking, man, first day at super school is absolutely draining. He zoned out, missing the kid sliding in next to him. It was that creepy possessed dude again, asking if the seat was taken. Kang said sure but was internally screaming, remembering the last disastrous intro in this room. Guy offered a hand anyway. He asked if they could be chill like brothers, mentioning he finished training right after turning 8, said they could drop the stiff formalities too. Kang realized this dude was actually his senior. Whoop, skip the boring stuff. Yang goes, bro, how'd you pull that off? But the guy cut straight to the chase immediately. Dude was totally geeking out over that guy's hand, going RMC kept insisting. The musclehead's arm just blew up solo. Meanwhile, Teach announced round 2 of class. Kim Yahoon's like, we're late, so, speedrun time. He fired up the slides. Dungeons come in regular, or glitch. The basic ones are everywhere and pop open in 4 weeks. But glitchy ones, total RNG, stay woke, or get wrecked. Next up, how to stop a dungeon spawn. 2 Strat 1. Smash the main core. Strat to snag normal cores to stall. Teach, also stressed, don't mess up the attack order or else. Then some Rondo cut him off. Back row guy was like, lectures are for losers, let's fight. MC confirmed it. Gym bros are the absolute worst. The rent stepped in. Sit down or get kicked out. Kid, but Kim was chill. Nah, let him cook. Teacher told Mr. Grumpy to come say that to his face. Jock ignored him, so Teach said it louder, for the back. That's when the kid just scoffed at Kim's ego. He walked down, acting all tough. What you're gonna do? Kim checked his texts. You got 1 minute? Genius. The deal. Teach would just juke and block everything the jock threw. Land 1 hit. Instant applause. Fail. You're expelled from Hero. Hi. By Felicia. Kang and Yang were totally fed up with this dude too. They thought this drama was hilarious. Passed the popcorn. The whole class went dead silent. Big tension. Kim double-checked, are you sure you want to risk it all? Bro's face got twisted. He felt totally disrespected. Zero hesitation. He glitched a sword out to slash Teach. Guard tried to jump in, seeing the blade, but Kim waved him off like a boss. Teach smirked. Bring it on, Jer. Dude was livid that Kim wasn't shaking in his boots. He lunged forward, screaming. He yelled loud enough to wake the dead. Kim just stood there, cool as ice. That massive dude charged in like a tank, weapon ready. But the pro just sidestepped. Barely moved. Easy dodge. He was like, telegraphing your moves. Total rookie mistake. Surprise is key, dummy. Big guy saw red but didn't quit after 1 whiff. Next swing looked lethal, like a finisher. But nope. Blink and you miss. Kim teleports behind him, mocking his huge Too slow, buddy. Meathead spins around, trying to squash the slippery teacher. Useless Teach was practically floating around the room, roasting the kid's technique. Live, read the moves. Don't just zone out. He lectured. Dude was losing it. Totally triggered. Screamed. Quit trolling me and fight. Kim paused, waiting for him to get into the danger zone. Angry guy swung again. Missed again. Embarrassing. Teach goes. Going full send with power. Dumb move. You're leaving yourself wide open. Then he switched it up and just smacked the rebel kid who couldn't do a thing about it. Guy lost his grip. Sword yeeted into the wall. Clank. Then Kim dropped some knowledge. Spam attacks like that and you'll gas out fast. Flashed his phone. Timer. And, ... Time's up. The whole class went dead silent. Totally shook. Waiting for the drop. Reminded Kang Hun of that clip pro boxer versus some Rondo. Still crazy to see a student get owned that hard. Guess the power gap is real. Even for awakened folks, levels to this game. MC got serious, analyzing Kim's moves like a sweat. Teach's speed was even with buffed stats, I couldn't track it. Yan and Kang high in watts, faces looking totally wrecked. But Loke, they wanted a piece of that action. Then our hero realized he wasn't the only fanboy. His deskmate looked straight up psycho. Didn't expect that. Wondered if sitting next to that maniac was a huge mistake. Don't want to catch that vibe. First class done. Then Born Theorem. Fun, practical stuff. PM, standard grind. Kim shouted, weapon training today. Unpack your loot. Let's go. First up, he told the squad to solo grind, letting the assistants roam around for tips. Our main guy snagged a blade, thinking this whole setup was a total Yusan was dying of boredom too, so he hit up his new pal to team up. Kim Yoon clocked their little chat and barked that sparring was a no-go until day 6. Weapons stripped, everyone got in position to grind out drills. Kang Hyeon was just kinda watching the others fumble around like total noob. He watched with a sigh, realizing these guys were absolute trash compared to him. And right then, he knew he expected too much. Honestly, he didn't even need this practice. Figured he'd just swing for the sake of it. Gripped the hilt tight, winding up for his first real move. Kang Hyeon flexed his skills instantly, and every single motion was basically kept flashing his moves, but Teach wasn't even looking. Kim Yoon finally noticed that our boy was going beast mode, eyebrows shooting up in shock. He ignored the eyeballs glued to him and just kept slicing up the air like a pro. Finally, Teach told him to cut that style out, told him to tighten his stance a bit, and tilt the blade, claiming all that flashiness was totally useless. Looks like our hero wasn't ready to get roasted like that. Teach kept going, saying he'd find out the hard way, hit a dungeon, that his fancy swordplay would flop. Kung Hyan snapped at the useless advice and grabbed the guy's collar. He glared at the dude, eyes blazing, daring him to test those skills for real. He knew he had to chill, though acting out was going to land him in hot water again. Just then, the staffer got flagged by Kim A.N., asking Kim Eungun to step aside. Dude froze up, thinking he was already in trouble with the boss. Instructor told the class to tune in, announcing that right now, there'd be a demo match. This rookie versus the assistant Teach. Both froze, totally blindsided by the boss's call. Kim Hyen laid it out. Staffer sticks to the script, while Kang Hyun just swings away. He also threw in that they'd only get one clash to prove themselves. Neither our boy nor the staffer argued with that. So Teach kicked off the little showdown. Started the count, and both locked onto their targets. On 3, they launched at each other like human missiles. Kang Hyun was itching for a chance to throw hands, eyes glowing like Letty's. Teach didn't expect a total noob to have actual skills. With a slick spin, our guy dodged the attack like a pro. The sword, smacked away by the hit, flew high, leaving the helper totally exposed. The dude stumbled and fell right by Kang's feet, totally floored and helpless. A sec later, that flying sword landed behind Teach's back. Everyone gaped, jaws on the floor at the crazy twists. Teach chimed in, saying these sword moves are meant for real-deal battles. He noted Kang showed how key fast reflexes really are. Then the instructor started a round of applause for their sick demo. He checked on the helper who played the losing punching bag. Guy said he was chill and thanked him for the lesson, but admitted he didn't see that coming at all. So Teach said sorry again for the rough time. Teach saw Young and Kong already gossiping about the fight. Just wanted to test the theory. That wrapped up day 1. After brawling and vibing with a dude named Anison, he decided class was a snooze fest and drills were lame. The second day was morning attack theory, afternoon drills. Our boy noticed that Yusan was tweaking in class, so best to keep distance. Day 3, he was still the only brave soul, talking to Kong. They tried to spar for real, but the monitor busted them fast. During the 4th day, bored stiff Kong doodled and journaled his misery. In practice, our hero tried grabbing 2 swords, but got stopped. 1 only. The guy scolded. Day 5 was brutal, so he just passed out in class, dreaming of going home early. Kang had 0 energy, so he didn't even bother trying. Next day, he kept whining about being bored to death. He dared his buddy to pull a prank to spice things up, but Yusin was like, "Didn't you say we gotta behave too, grad?" Our guy shrugged, saying it wouldn't be his issue if he got expelled. "Wow, rude," his friend noted. Anyway, Yusin said he shouldn't stress too much about the details. He said today was day 6, might actually get fun. The dude, just a gut feeling. He grinned, looking smug. Later, practice shifted to the school hangar. Inside, round 1 was already heating up, and some kid was getting totally wrecked. His opponent, RMC, spamming his usual move, disarming the guy instantly. The ref shouted, "Kang, Huns win," and called up the next batch. Ezen hyped him up for clobbering both the student and the aide, but he shrugged it off. Nah, they were just weak. His buddy started yapping about how humble he was, suddenly acting, but he zoned out, lost in his own head. To Kang Hyun, this whole thing felt like kiddie hour. He figured the skill level here was barely amateur. Talent aside, normies clearly wouldn't survive long. He recalled that sparring goes till day 8, and honestly, he doubted these guys could handle the boredom. Meanwhile, a serious brawl started on stage. One kid froze up, failing to dodge time because he was totally freaked out. MC and Yan finally paid attention as things got spicy. The sharp blade stopped inches from the loser's eyes. The dude blinked, shocked, since he was bracing for impact. Turns out the teacher jumped in before it got messy. He called the match there, declaring Kim Chan-woo the winner. Our hero thought, "Kimmy's decent, but I'd rather fight the teacher." Next group got called, and in popped right up. He cracked a few jokes before stepping up. But things got weird when the next second, Yan flashed a creepy, evil grin. Mick watched him close, spotting the weird shift in his vibe instantly. Kang Hyun guessed things were about to get fun. Still, he had a hunch his buddy might cause trouble. He tried to chill, hoping that the teacher would keep a lid on it. Kim Yoon said Lee Yuri, the mage trainee, would use her own gear since the tight space cramped her style. Teach also asked why trainee, usually a sword guy, was rocking a mace. Now, he didn't explain, just smirked. No rules against it, right? The head coach just shrugged at the kid's weird pick. Totally cool with it. Time to rumble. He told both sides to take a step back. Gonna count to 3 before shouting go. Main dude couldn't look away. His gut was screaming bad vibes. Yusan just stood there like a statue, looking totally bored by the whole duel setup. 1 sec later, Kim Yoon finished the count, and Magic Girl instantly went on the offensive. Dude didn't flinch, not even trying to dodge the magic missiles headed his way. With a single lazy swing of his mace, he shattered those crystals into glitter in a split second. That same creepy grin crept back onto Eon's face. Before his next move, the class gasped this duel was way crazier than the others. Our hero was actually low-key loving the view, real magic. First time seeing it, and he totally wanted in. Kong-hoon was confused. Why? He missed this earlier, figured she must have been grinding XP solo. Meanwhile, Luri realized that odds were definitely not in her favor anymore. Cutting the chatter, she charged up her mana to spawn a massive crystal. Yusan stayed chill, ignoring the literal boulder zooming at his face. He glanced sideways for a sec, before unleashing his full kit. Kim Yoon caught his eye but couldn't figure out why the kid was acting so sus. The guy held his ground, steady as a rock, and just hoisted that heavy mace up high. Yusan looked way too confident, barely hiding that twisted, crazy look. Kong-hoon was starting to clock exactly what his buddy was planning. He started sweating buckets. His theory was straight up terrifying. Watching closely, he knew Yusan was trying to curve that magic shot. Bam! The kid spun the giant crystal, so it flew right at the coach. Kim Yoon was shook by the betrayal, but his reflexes were insane. So, he dodged just in time. Recovering fast, the teacher saw Yusan already sprinting at his enemy. The head coach panicked. A sudden realization hit in him about the student's nasty plan. He screamed to stop him, but the guy was deaf to it, winding up a finisher on Liyuri. A split second later, a dull thud echoed, followed by the girl's silent gasp. She never saw it coming. Even the main character couldn't hide his shock. He didn't think his teammate would actually go that far. Moments later, Liyuri's beaten form, barely recognizable after that critical hit, slumped to the floor. Yusan threw a fist up, vibing like he just won the lottery after that brawl. Dude grinned like a total psycho, blushing cause his wild scheme actually worked. Kim finally snapped to reality, screaming for Kim Han to grab meds and Lee to dial 911 stat. A nervous staffer stuttered on the line, crying that one of the girls had a nasty bone sticking out of her arm and begged him to rush. Another aide rushed in, telling her to hang tough just a bit longer. Yusan kept smirking, chilling even when the professor waved a weapon in his face. Kim got dead serious, asking if the bro realized how messed up he was. Teak was fuming, eyes blazing, zero tolerance for this nonsense at a hero school. But the kid just threw his hands up like, my bad, claiming crazy stuff happens in fights. The boss wasn't buying the psychos act, but the guy just winked. Zero guilt about the carnage. Kim couldn't believe a student could be that cold-blooded. Finally, Teach sighed hard, knowing this kid was a lost cause. He barked that everyone take a 20-minute breather and be back in seats by 3 sharp. As for you, he had to tail the boss to explain his little sparring disaster. Meantime, Kang kept his eyes glued to the drama between the professor and his buddy. He zeroed in on the blade. Kim was what reminded him of that SWAT copy smashed that goblin with memory, hit him like a truck. Despite the mess, fights went on for 2 more days. And Yeong didn't get booted either, still training. But everyone sadied him hard. The coaches and staff tiptoed around him, and way more kids were raging. Our hero peeped that even healers were lurking now, costing a fortune but necessary. Anyway, day 8 breezed by, with 0 major drama. But Kung figured it was way too quiet. Post-training, he decided to crash the head coach's office bored out of his skull. He walked in and challenged Teach to a real sword fight. Kim was totally floored. The kid's guts and froze, not knowing what to say. His stress grad was in 2 days, begging the dude to just chill, admitting this course was already a headache. Our boy hated that vibe and plotted how to flip the script. He smirked, with a dare and asking if Teach was sick of these kiddie games yet. He instantly saw that Mr. Kim was itching for action, definitely not the type to sit around pushing paper. Kang Hyeon finally spilled the tea on his earlier run-in with the inspector. Kim Yoon totally froze up hearing the MC's gutsy claim. Talk, done. Teach and our boy headed to the gym to absolutely throw down. Teach finally clocked his sparring partner was Cadet Kong Hee and gave him props for stopping that earlier mess. But that wasn't the only thing on his mind. He grilled him on hitting level 5 and noted his 6 sword looked like a legit level 6 drop. Our guy capped immediately, claiming he looted it on a run. Teach rolled with the excuse. Kim let it slide. He knew the kid wouldn't spill the tea anyway. So, he just got serious and whipped out his own blades. Time to show the kid what he looted on a run. No, ready, set, go. he just lunged at him. Kang scrambled the track. The enemy, who teleported behind him instantly. Last second, Kong spun around, spotting the shadow. His reflex stats were high enough to handle the heat, blocking just in the nick of time. Kim figured the kid was just a tank, but his speed was totally cracked too. MC quipped. Being a one-trick pony makes you weak. He dared him to go all out since he heals fast. Teach didn't hesitate, swearing to wreck him and zipping into the air. He spammed attacks, but Kong parried every single hit. Kim was shook. The student was this buff and had infinite stamina. MC was Now this was a real fight. Teach saw the kids. Healing was OP, so he had to go harder. Kang seemed caught off guard by the speed. Kim aimed to smash through his guard, but our boy had a wild idea. He threw his arm out, eating the hit to stop the blade. Pain, whatever. Teach froze, realizing his sword was stuck fast. The maniac clamped the blade with his actual bones. Insane. Guy felt zero pain. He yanked the stunned teacher closer, then smashed a fist right into his forehead. Teach couldn't stay upright and flopped onto the mat like a sack of potatoes. He landed at the MC's feet, who loomed over him like a boss. Kim just stared up at the staring up, shook, realizing someone could actually beat him. Then they flopped by the wall to chug some soda together. Discussing the duel, our hero admitted the sparring match was a tie since they banned skills, but he cheated anyway. Teach decided to crack a joke, saying he won by default and the kid could get booted for fouling. Kong Hun panicked, whining he can't turn off a passive skill, but the guy just cracked up at that reaction. Anyway, Teach thanked our hero, feeling way more chill now. He told the kid to go crash since dungeon training was tomorrow. Scene cuts to a creepy dungeon, where a shady figure in a cloak was hiding. The creeper paused at the entrance, eyeing the tall gates. Acting super sketch, he checked his surroundings first. Mystery dude chilled out, realizing no one was there. Suddenly, he took a few steps forward and started vanishing into thin air. Seconds later, just a ghostly blur zoomed toward the door. Just like that, the stranger snuck inside. Suddenly, the street was empty and dead silent. Next morning, a student squad headed to those same doors, their designated school training dungeon. Kim Yoon said, "It's a rank F weirdo forest, where the mobs are way buffed for this rank." He's stressed why they picked this spot for class. First off, it's a field zone with traps, but mostly just mob threats. The second reason, the creeps ride solo, so you can lure and wreck them one by one. The teacher wrapped up, saying he'd spill more deets once they were inside. The MC was kinda hyped. Since it was his first IRL dungeon run, he'd never stepped through a gate like this before. Kong Hoon felt like he was floating as he crossed the trippy tunnel. Blinked and boom, a whole new world popped up. In seconds, the whole student crew warped to a thick forest with a huge river. Our hero grilled his buddy. "Is this a portal or a gate?" But the dude just said they covered it in class, swearing they could warp back to the start. Kong Hun didn't want to look nuts, so he told his pal to zip it, but Yusun was like, "You started it, bro." Kim Yoon yelled, "Yo, go bait that beast. Lure it out and show him how it's done." "Okay, squad up, bait the beast. 5-on-1. He spun around, signaling his sidekick to go. Teach yelled drag M to the open zone to brawl. Then he dropped the intel. Geekas are huge, angry ostriches, 2 meters tall. Their main vibe, speedy legs and beaks that poke through armor. The medic just circle up and trip the oversized nugget. Kim froze. A glitchy pop-up blocked his view. Core missing. Exit portal spawning. The kid saw the alert to, and panic mode kicked in hard. The sky shattered like cheap glass. "It's crumbling." Teach screamed, "Chill out. Single file. Exit before we get squished." He kept it cool, swearing they had time to spare. Outside, the gossip exploded. "Yo, who snagged the core?" Shook. Kim did a quick head count. View. The whole crew made it out. But who speedran the dungeon? His sidekick waved frantically. Something nasty was busting out. Teach saw the entrance and realized they were toast. He yelled at the aide. "Call backup. Kids, scram. It's a break." Super bad news. Our Shookmik ran up, totally lost. Teach was glad for help. He explained the mess and drafted the noobs to fight. Break the core, but miss the boss. And mobs spill out here? Kim blinked. "Dude, didn't you read the wiki?" MC looked away, acting cool. "Just testing you." Teach. "No time for jokes. Bird incoming. Cadets. Battle stations." Too late. One got loose. Squeak squeak, oop. So, Teach belled MC. Dude wasn't even strapped for a tussle. Teach tuned him out, yelling at cadets to squad up in fives and listen close. Honestly, Kong Hyen was hyped to finally flex his muscles. A cocky grin slapped onto his face until he saw the mob piling up. Started wondering if he bit off more than he could chew. Finally, bro just went YOLO and charged in to wreck every creep. He didn't even clock that Ian was itching for a brawl and jumping in to help. His homie was faster, zooming right past the main guy and bonking a monster's noggin with zero chill. Eyes blazing, he grinned like a maniac, totally vibing with the destruction. GA was totally useless against that power, just screaming her lungs out. Our MC stood there shook, watching Enyeong carry the whole squad. He noticed Yuzan, acting sus, after bagging the first kill. Turns out, the psycho was just having the time of his life. Figured the best strat was smashing them with his new moves. Meanwhile, Kang Han was grossed out by his schoolmates' cringe vibes. The lunatic didn't stop at just one baddie, diving headfirst into the monster mosh pit. Gesturing for our hero, who was seriously hating every second. Realizing he was trapped, he sighed and whipped his blade out of inventory. He started feeling a bit bolder with a certified nutjob watching his back. Instantly, the MC went pro mode, slicing and dicing the mob of creeps. He was swarmed, but his combos were so clean and quick, the monsters couldn't even react. Deciding to ult, he paused and told Enyeong to plug his ears. Kang Hun popped a lion's roar of fury, screaming to nerf all those bird-brained beasts. The creeps froze, stunned by the noise, their stats and vibes tanking hard. The main dude's scream was so loud even Kim Ehan heard it from way downtown. Everyone clocked that the monsters suddenly got super squishy, and Teach figured it was Kang Han dropping a massive out. Teach knew backup would be there soon, so he chilled, thinking they'd actually survive this. Meanwhile, our boy decided to cast Magic Blast, a spell he snagged from some goblin's loot drop. This strat hit way harder than just chucking the ball around. Those freaks didn't stand a chance against the hero. After one shot, his arm was toast, surprising him with the recoil. He realized this skill was custom-made for him, nobody else could run it. Yang kept eyes on his pal, instantly spotting the magic usage. Kang Hoon just shrugged off that skill, keeping his lips totally sealed. Then his buddy pointed out a bigger issue nearby. Suddenly, a total freak of nature, unlike the other mobs, stormed out the gates. This massive mutant was the final boss. Kim panicked. Backup was late, and the boss was here. He chilled fast though, realizing Kang and his wild pal could handle it. Meanwhile, the boys prepped to slay. Huge threat, eyes glowing like hungry wolves. Finally, the squad sorted out the mess. Cut to the teacher's office, discussing graduation. The VIP guest already knew about the crazy dungeon accident during practice. Kim hinted its link to last month's terror. She quickly asked for MVPs, and he named 2 students. He meant our main guy Yoon, who soloed that mutant boss. She stayed quiet, but it was clear from her look that she dug such strong fighters. Kim said one kid had insane stats and speed. His main hacks were crazy healing and stamina, letting him brawl like a wild, unpredictable maniac. The other guy was a different breed, not a genius, just battle smart. Yoon's reflexes and tech are top tier, but that overkill bug is huge. The girl noted that coming from him, this hype was real since Kim rarely praises anyone. She asked if he hired them, but the teacher stressed that poaching students is banned. She teased that Kim Yoon was always so stiff, but he grinned, like boss, like worker. Turns out he was chatting with guild leader. She saw the instructor gig, cool, but urged him back since things were getting weird. The next day, the grad ceremony started. The principal blessed their work over the last 10 days, hoping they'd be great. He wrapped it up, and the hall exploded in cheers. The main character was shocked. He thought Kim was the big boss here. After leaving, stepping out of the hall, the dude got blocked by a beefy bodyguard. Kang Hyeon was shooked. Never had the red carpet rolled out like this before. Turns out, it was Yusan's butler, flexin' with a sick white limo. Buddy was hopping inside and told our hero to catch a ride with him. Kang Hyeon was totally geeking out over the invite, cause he'd never ridden in a whip this bougie before. Just as he was sliding in, someone hollered, pausing his flex. He yelled, "Yo part," at the teach, who instantly corrected him. Again, he figured the instructor came for a tearful goodbye. But nah, not happening. Kim just nodded along with whatever the students said. Teach said the loot for clearing yesterday's dungeon goes to the 2 slackers who showed up late and mentioned the guild would call soon. Then Kim spun around to bounce. And I was like, wait, that's it? Bro, couldn't believe he walked over just for that. He didn't get why the teach was being so icy and couldn't even drop a THX. Low. Teach sighed deep and admitted Kang Hyeon was actually pretty figured our boy would level up even more and bet they'd run into each other in a dungeon real soon. But he told the kid not to ghost his responsibilities as a super. Kang Hyeon was so hyped on being awakened, he wouldn't put his license down. He kept bugging his lil sis about his power level. She had zero chill about it. Our hero also announced that, now on, he's the boss. And tomorrow he's raiding every dungeon in sight. Then he rewound the convo in his head and puzzled over the deets a bit. He asked how to find raids, and sis was like, download radar, dummy. Kang Hyeon instantly thought she was big brain energy. She shrugged it off literally. Everything is on the web. Boomer. He snagged the app and saw maps, monster stats, and peeps looking for groups. He didn't get why he couldn't solo it, but he planned to stack cash and flex on his mom anyway. 1 month later, time to check the results of Kang Hyun's master plan. TV said clearing, and F rank pays out 20 million won. Plus, the loot drops from mobs are worth crazy bank. Dad was chilling in front of the tube, wondering about his son who'd basically ghosted them since getting his license. Right then, the mom said he wired 10 million won for snacks and bought a whip last week. Pops shook, realizing his kid was making more dough than him now. Honestly, Mom was still stressing over our hero, cause she heard dungeons are basically death traps. Dad was chill with it. Better than being jobless at his age, right? TV says you gotta squat up for dungeons anyway. And Hyan, he's smart. Ain't the type to do stupid, rash stuff. Dude was strictly grinding for that serious cash. Token, big money. Banks were gonna overflow soon. Hero got good with his blade. Small mobs. Total joke to him now. Pain, whatever. He just blasted magic right back at him. Kang Hun didn't fear the brawl. He absolutely owned it. Swung his sword like a maniac, laughing his head off. Outside, his shiny new Bentley waited. Total flex. Forgot his phone though. Someone blew it up all night long. Just Mom. She was trying to check in on him. No answer. She started low-key freaking out. Dad goes. He's sleeping. Chill. Call tomorrow. He also told her to mention that weird case. Mom was clueless. What case? She wondered. That thing by the mart. He tried to explain. Some creepy unknown object just popped up there. Mom shrugged. Gov handles that. Why tell our son? Dad frowned. Help takes too long, he figured. Sadly, he was right. The dungeon burst open right then. Boom. In a second, an army of orcs spilled out, smashing everything in sight. Then came the boss monster, huge and looking like top dog. By dawn, our hero snagged the core. Easy win. Opened a portal to bail. Mission complete. Thought about round 2, but not too risky. Can't respawn in real life. Yet, not worth the gamble. Gotta play it safe with only one life? Right. Headed to the car. Plan. Sleep now. Expensive beef later. Checked his phone. 36 missed calls from sis. Confused. He dialed Kang Awoon back instantly. She answered fast. Her voice was shaking. Bro, something bad happened, she cried. She struggled to say what happened to Mom and Dad. Slowly, it hit him. The horror sank in. Mind turned to mush. The world went silent around him. He just froze. Couldn't speak a single word. The news was too heavy to process. Rage and grief hit him like a truck. Now, he wanted to burn the whole world down. News said the Gov was trying their best. Yeah, right. But the Homeland Defense and the hero squads locked down the zone to stop the mess. But the locals stuck inside. Folks in the lockdown zone were totally freaking out. I packed my gear ASAP to save Mom and Dad when I heard ... The Dangan Guild pledged to jump in on the rescue mission. Sis was super sketchy about letting her big bro go ... solo into that mess. But he told her to chill out. He knew he looked kinda goofy, which fooled people ... but reminded her he'd grinded levels and could survive. Lil Sis eyed him with major suspicion ... hating the idea of him diving straight into the chaos. Finally, she begged. Be safe and don't flex too hard. He just grinned. Told ya, I got this. He swore he'd scoop up Mom and Dad real quick ... and bring M back, safe and sound. Konhyan froze in the whip, mentally prepping for the madness. At the checkpoint, some grim soldiers blocked his path. ... saying, roads closed, kid, turn that heap around. He flashed his hunter ID instantly and was like, ... double quotes, yo, I'm an awakened. Let me through. A nearby guard yelled, let him go. Orders are too clear, users. The soldiers shrugged. Fine, but we ain't liable ... for whatever eats you inside that fence. Kang Hyun ignored the shade and floored it. Zero time to waste. He stomped the gas pedal flat. He'd read online that things were gnarly. ... 5 dungeons popped, 1 hitting E rank level. He prayed his rents were okay. He'd make it. He figured if no mobs jumped him ... E single quotes. D arrive in 2 hours. Then, bam, a giant boar. Dude totally didn't see that coming ... and had 0 seconds to swerve. Smash. The car got punted, flipping through the air like a toy. That beast's eyes were practically glowing with hate. And it definitely wasn't hitting the brakes. Konhyan scrambled out, grabbing his gear to fight back. Come get some, he yelled, salty about his wrecked Bentley. The boar sensed the dude's aggro vibe. ... snorting loudly and powing the ground for a duel. Up close, the thing was absolute unit status. Suddenly, a piercing squeal distracted our hero. Even the boar paused, like wait, what's that? They both looked toward the noise. Turns out, a massive horde of orcs was charging straight at them. He wondered if he'd torched a goblin kingdom once, because just when he forgets them, boom, new drama spawns. He decided, nope, not dealing with the pig right now. Sprinted away, screaming some nonsense about forgiveness being the best revenge. Kang Hyan wasn't hitting the brakes at all. He wished the dude luck, but the baddie wasn't letting him go that easy. Mr. Predator was super salty that his snack was acting so brave and slippery, dodging right out from under his nose. Suddenly, a storm of sharp spikes rained down on the giant beastie out of nowhere. The big monster didn't have time to blink at the ambush, so it just squealed like a baby and tipped over. Dude realized he could totally bail while the goblins did the dirty work for him. Since the Bentley was toast, he definitely couldn't waste a second on useless fluff. Our hero jogged through the never-ending creepy forest for a while longer. Once he was a safe distance away, he finally paused to wheeze a bit. He started suspecting this hike was way too hard to finish on foot today. Plus, he had to save his phone battery, so no flashlight app allowed. If Kang Hyan had actually known this drama was coming, he would have just stuck to the lit main roads instead of trying this sketchy shortcut. The MC was so busy overthinking he didn't even notice he had company. Just as the enemy, Lunge Star Guy, felt a chill down his spine like someone was watching him. He spun around last second, zero time to think, just act. Kang Hyan's reflexes were basically cheat codes, so he swung his blade in time to disarm the creep. Then the defeated Disfurin, who was totally invisible before, popped into view midair. For a sec, even our boy was confused. He'd never fought invisible weirdos before. Our hero figured some monsters could go ghost mode, realizing his beauty sleep was officially canceled tonight. Suddenly, he felt movement nearby but couldn't see the wolf things anywhere. The Disfurin quickly surrounded the kid, growling like they meant business. Of course, Kang Hyan didn't panic and squared up to fight the pack. In a blur, he one-shotted every single monster with some sick moves. He flexed hard to stay standing after pulling off that insane combo. The MC, now totally drenched in enemy goo, just let out a quiet sigh to that wind totally hyped up the brave dude. He was ready to see what else these losers were capable of. Finally, the kid decided to camp right there at the battlefield till dawn. Kang Hyan knew chilling overnight in the woods was risky, so he shimmied up a tree for a nap. Sleep was tough after the brawl, and the branch wasn't exactly a comfy mattress. Our dude rubbed his eyes, realizing he had zero chill time left. Mom kept her eyes glued to the screen this whole time, reading texts from her son. Lock up. Wait for me, he'd said. She tried to whisper something to her hobby, but he shushed her. Zip it. Don't draw aggro, he signaled. She murmured, is Hyan actually gonna clutch this? The signal was trash, so they couldn't hit him up to confirm. Dad flashed back to his son, saying, it's chill, but now, Dad was pressing X to doubt. Yesterday's orc looked like a total noob, weak sauce, F-rank trash. But these new guys, totally out of his league. No cap. He peeped out the window, careful like, and spotted something wild outside. He was stressing. Could Kang Hyan actually solo that beast? Dad froze. Seeing that bloody figure, he thought, monster, not son. But our main character was the type of gigachot who speedruns so mopping a few dozen orcs. Easy clap, not even hard. More mobs spawned in, but he wasn't gassed yet. Ready to grind? He spun around to check the ops and noticed something sus. Turns out, these orcs were buff. We're talking near boss level vibes here. Kang Hyan was confused. E-rank dungeon. Why are the mobs so sweaty? First, he signaled his rents. I'm here. Stay low. Don't make a peep. Clocked his voice instantly. Finally, some hope. Mom and Dad were shook. Was that really their boy? They dreaded thinking about what leveled him up these past months. They watched him eat himself into a 1v3 against those bulky The orc squad was salty too. They roared before clapping back at our hero. Dude knew he had to stop playing around and go beast mode. He locked in and charged the enemy. The orcs put their spears up just in time. Blocked. Unlucky. One monster saw an opening right away and tried to speed blitz him with a sword stab, but our MC read that move like a book. He saw it coming and downloaded the counter strat instantly. He ducked the lunge, missed me. Now he had the high ground. Bought him a sec to charge up a magic blast in his hands. Kang Hyan didn't lag. He smacked the closest orc. Bam! The other two just stood there, shook, as their buddy dropped, face completely wrecked. Wasted. The MC peeped another threat instantly. Some sneaker tried to gank him from behind. Tried to bonk him with a club, but he caught it, one-handed. Sick. Snap. Kang Hyan's arm finally gave up the ghost and cracked. Standard hero stuff pain is basically his morning coffee. No time to cry. He swung his blade to disarm a beast. Gritting his teeth, he flipped that massive orc like a pancake. Boom! Another baddie tossed into the trash heap. Orc tried to wriggle free, but nah, resistance was futile. Suddenly, the beast got a taste of our heroes Fist, right in the pie hole. Talk about a confusing snack. Then he coolly muttered a spell to blast the guy into orbit. Thanks to that explosive little magic trick, Mr. Orc became confetti. Another dub for the hero. But his arm was fried. No time to heal after he spammed that magic blast twice. Totally crispy. He sat on the dead guy for a sec, gasping for air. But no chill time yet. His spidey senses were tingling. And yup, it became pretty obvious, pretty fast, that he was surrounded. A whole angry mob of orcs wanted revenge. They all roared at once, gross screaming, ugly noises, teeth gnashing, feet stomping, a real symphony of terror. Then, the big boss stepped up. You couldn't miss this guy. Our hero just froze. Fighting that beast, yeah, that's gonna be rough. The massive orc stood before his squad and glared at our exhausted boy. General Ugly roared, ordering his minions to get him. Kong Hyen didn't panic. He just burst out laughing at the fact that the boss looked like a foot. Seriously hideous. He was saving mana to heal. But crisis mode. First step, giant strength buff. Muscles engaged. Let's go. The hero took a deep breath to unleash his lion's roar. He yelled, "Hey freak," trying to debuff the boss with insults. Split second later, an insane punch rocked his jaw. Bye-bye. Confidence. Kong Hyen definitely didn't see that coming. Zero reaction time. The general was way too fast. He lost his footing and went flying into the other goons. They shoved him right back like yours, boss. Our boy could barely stand. He was wobbling hard now. Big monster didn't play nice. Wham! Another crush. Kong Hyen couldn't do a thing. He just thought, man, he's playing with me like a cheap toy. After some face jabs, the general kicked him in the gut. That attack was a crit. He definitely couldn't tank. So, he faced. Our hero didn't know if his mana bar was totally empty or what but his HP stopped reviving? Yeah, probably not happening. Regardless, Kong Hyen refused to rage quit just yet. So he clenched a fist and struggled to get back on his feet. The boss mob looked shook by his guts, watching him with amusement. The kid screamed out that he couldn't bail when his fam's fate was on the line. The giant orc froze, totally thrown off by this dude's vibe. Meanwhile, the brave guy wasted 0 seconds and rushed the enemy. Suddenly, our hero got distracted by something sus at his parents' window. Turns out, some creeps climbed up, ready to wreck the helpless humans. The young man let out a quiet breath and tried to lock in for the sake of saving his mom and dad. He roared that those freaks better not touch him and bolted to fight. The protagonist tried to slip the circle, but the monsters grabbed him quick. Orcs piled on his back, but he still had some juice left to resist. Kang Hyen swung his blade, hard ones yeeting all the monsters off him. Then, a massive orc reached out way too hard to dodge. He realized with horror it was game over as he got snatched up. The general brutally slammed him, leaving 0 survival odds. The protagonist was such a scrapper that he clung to life just to stop them from reaching his folks. He could only move an arm, reaching for where his fam hid. Eventually, Kong Hyen couldn't, tanked the damage, and slowly started blacking out. Just then, someone pulled up and diced the boss into confetti. This warrior was a whirlwind, wrecking every mob in sight. After clearing the trash, the girl landed to check her work. Turns out, it was that same guild leader, who came personally to handle the mess in this zone. Her crew reported mission complete and started the event. The girl sighed, tired, noting the damage was massive. But thanks to someone orcs here, the destruction was way less than elsewhere. She looked for the brave dude who held aggro solo till then, but a staffer reported that, sadly, he was already toast. She ordered them to secure the body, but then saw something wild. Everyone watched the main character's body just glitch out and vanish into thin air. Meanwhile, Kang Hyen was somewhere else, totally fine. He looked around, realizing he was back at the tree where he dozed off. So then the system chimes in, confirming he used his respawn skill, adding, since he didn't pick a save point, he defaults to the last dream location. Instantly, his brain flashes back to monsters creeping on his parents' house right before he bit the dust. Realizing 24 hours flew by. Not good. His parents could be toast. No time to chill. Our hero grabs his blade and bolts for the city. He eats himself out of the tree and sprints, knowing he has to get back there ASAP. He sticks to landing, but his body is still screaming from the last fight. The dude feels super heavy, probably a nasty debuff from the resurrection penalty. Ooh-ha. Kong Hyen ignores the gross vibes and keeps running, hoping it's not game over yet. After 5 hours of painful cardio, he finally spots his hometown. The place is a total ghost town, and his parents' apartment is empty. 0 people. Harsh reality check. He was too slow to save them. That realization hits him right in the feels. He wanders until he finds a military base, swipes a phone, and calls Ian. That's when he sees the news. Dad lost an arm, and mom's in a coma. Just brutal. Losing it, he squeezes the phone until the screen cracks. 2 months later, the news is buzzing. Again, about the Dangan Guild raiding the High Plains dungeon. Kang Hun gears up again, ignoring his sister as he heads out. Sis is totally freaking out. Since he's died like 3 times this week, he's just like, I'm fine. She tries to talk sense into him, saying, the parent tragedy wasn't his fault, but he slams the door. Not listening. His sister wasn't gonna quit, but he's already bailing down the stairs. She just stares helplessly after her. Big bro, who treats his life like it's worthless now. Meanwhile, the boss monster Mervier spawns in the dungeon, but another squad already wrecked it before our guy got there. One fighter is hyped about leveling up after the brawl. The team hyped their leader, calling him the MVP. Typical ace behavior. Honestly, the guy thinks his teammates are total losers. Compared to an elite like him, he thinks he's hot stuff. He fakes a smile, acting all humble and grateful. Suddenly, he snaps out of his ego trip when he sees a teammate looking totally shook. Turns out, some random maniac is sprinting right at them. He was on a dungeon speedrun, totally ghosting the randoms nearby. The noob squad clocked that Kong Hyan was moving like a glitch in the Matrix. They were shook that a bro was soloing this deep underground. Their boss was lagging hard, too stunned to even speak. Tried to holler wait, cause rushing the boss room is basically suicide. The team was like, yo Cap, what's the move? About the rondo, Cap said, can't just leave him hanging. They chased after him, but a whole ant army blocked the path ahead. Our boy realized he couldn't dip yet, so he paused to trash these mobs first. He popped a new skill, Wayne's Secret, buffing stats like crazy. But the recoil basically wrecked his body in the process. Giant creepycrawlies started swarming the MC from every angle, but Brua was already prepped to delete every single one. The bugs got cozy, but he just kept charging his ult. Then Swishy sliced every enemy in half with one hit. So, the young dude didn't chill, firing a magic blast just to secure the dub. The other squad just stood there watching him carry hard. Nobody could speak cause they never expected to see a sweaty pro gamer down here. Kang Hyan didn't lag, straight lining to the dungeon core. Thinking how he just unlocked that cheat skill yesterday? He was testing the combo with his regen buff. It slapped. Without that healing factor, he'd be totally toast. For sure. Suddenly, paused cause some random tried to slide into his DM. Their leader asked if bro was good, which confused him. Like, why even ask that? Guy looked low-key, terrified of our heroes. Power level. Kang Hun didn't get why they were just staring like creeps. Finally, he reached out to smash the core and keep the daily grind going. Told them to step aside if the chit-chat was done. They were shook. He wasn't looting the crystals from the bodies. He just replied briefly that he was speed. The normies were hype-free cash for them. Kang Hyan said none of that mattered. He was only chasing those strength gains. The leader watched the guy walk off with zero cares given. Turned to his squad like, who was that mystery beast? Finally, bro decided it didn't make whatever. As long as the cash flowed, who cares about the details? The mob ignored the weirdo, mostly because there was safety in numbers. Props to him though. They crushed a week's grind in just one day. One dude guessed he was that viral warrior everyone's chatting about. He swore it was the guy, the one solo sweeping dungeons lately. But the boss was like, no way. Even if true, this ain't F-rank, it's an Eric zone. Not even pros like Hanshin or Cho could solo an E, but a sisty pop-up cut him off. Turns out, the dungeon core was toasted, and the exit gate was open. Meanwhile, Kang Hun sat on the dead boss, gasping for air. Plus, he snagged a book, Shroud of Muravir, buffs, skin defense. He hesitated since his other skills already guzzled. He knew too many skills at once is a total rookie mistake. Like Billin's sword, useless muscle without a brain. Even rushing, he couldn't lose his cool like with that orc. Anyway, Kang Hun figured, regrets are for losers. Goal 1. Get swal, whatever it takes. He realized to level up, he needed new moves. So, bye-bye doubts. Outside, the raid party huddled by the door, chatting up a stranger. Just some nosy reporter asking about that huge rumor. The solo clear beast supposedly spotted here today. The leader said they were clueless. Then pointed back as the mystery guy walked out. Kang Hun strolled out the gate, totally oblivious to the fan club waiting. He blinked, confused.
Why?
All these people were crowding him. Suddenly, camera flashes blinded him. Everyone wanted a pic of the monster-slaying maniac. Reporters swarmed, asking if he was the real deal. And guild recruiters tried to snatch up such a high-value carry. Annoyed, he snapped. Don't know, don't care, not joining. One salty reporter shoulder-checked him for the tood. Our guy couldn't hold back. His rage, giving the reporter a death stare. The TV guy instantly teared up, terrified and speechless facing such a scary dude. Shaken, he finally managed to squeak out a sorry. Then, our main guy just ghosted them, quietly dipped, leaving the thirsty reporters desperate for scoop on the solo dungeon diver. Instant Whisper Network. Yo, he looked ready to flatten Bob right there. They figured he was some thug or wanted felon. Meanwhile, he be like, parking lot, time to skedaddle. Seriously, paparazzi camp in the dungeon entrance. Total waste of his time. Kong Hyan barely got cozy. In his fresh Bentley when someone tapped on the window. Startled, he spun around. Who are you? Chill, kid, the guy grinned. I'm on your side. Mystery Men just slid him a business card, skipping the small talk. Okay, curiosity piqued. He grabbed the card to see what the deal was. Short and sweet, Song Yong Ho, Ability Users Association. Then the suit started his pitch. We've been watching you. Join up, and we've got your back completely. Young Ho didn't push for a yes right then. Call us whenever, basically. He bowed out, literally, and left our hero in peace. Kang stayed quiet, just staring at that card, gripping it tight. Unlike those greedy guilds, the association actually fought for awakened rights. Still, he was kinda shocked. They never scouted people like this. He shrugged. Why overthink it? The guy said no rush, so he'd deal with it later. Suddenly, some kid in a store points at him. Mom, look, a monster. He ignored the brat. Just kept munching to regain post-dungeon energy. The real issue, his mana tank was empty. That secret regeneration technique drained him dry. Running on fumes here. Forget the shroud skill, he barely had juice for a basic slap. Time to find a fix. He needed artifacts. Stat. Phone out, auction site open. Nothing good listed. He needed 4 items. Didn't care about the type, but trash items. Boosting 1 stat. Hard pass. Finally, after scrolling forever, Kang hit the jackpot. Buried in the posts. A guide on where to hunt mana rings. Next morning, he zoomed over to Kane, destination. The Goblin Village dungeon. Beating the local shamans usually drops a ring that buffs your magic power by 1 or 2 points. If you get lucky, maybe a plus. For clap the Great Goblin Shaman, and you score a ring with insane stats. Some guys in the know were building a farm team to grind cash here. But lately, they got booted by some creeps claiming the turf. The feds don't care unless monsters escape. So whatever. Opie hoped posting this would bait a guild into clearing out the trash. Kong Hyan scrolled through the replies saying, skip it, bro. Fighting is pointless. Eventually, our dude hit the spot. Shocked, the gate was totally unguarded. He shrugged it off and just walked right in. Zero drama later, he warped straight to the Goblin Village. The other side was just a creepy, empty forest. Turns out, he wasn't solo. After all, someone yelled, who goes there? 3 greedy fighters stared him down, looking for a payday. One guy peeped his sick gear, plotting to sell it for quick cash. His buddy got hype about the surprise loot drop. The girl laughed, claiming she dreamt of a pig today. Total jackpot vibes. The thug asked if he knew this was bait guild turf. Naturally, Kang wasn't scared of scrubs, so he asked, so what? They said trespassing means paying up. Drop your inventory and maybe you live. A split second later, their buddy got launched, absolutely wrecked, by our hero. He hit the dirt hard and slid into the bushes. The bandits froze, realizing, what just happened? They whipped around, eyes popping in terror. Meanwhile, our boy just stood there, waiting for their next move. They didn't know who they messed with, but wanted payback anyway. Gayan charged, sword slashing the air with a silver blur. Aiming to crush him, Kong caught the blade with one palm too. Then, he squeezed, hard, shattering the steel into bits. Before the guy could react, he tossed him aside like trash. Kong smirked, saying he liked brave idiots. Beating them up wasn't shameful, it was honestly fun. Suddenly, someone fired a magic blast right at our hero mid. His armor ate the blast, so he barely felt a tickle on his back. Still, our main guy was salty that some Rondo actually tried him. He spun around instantly to spot the loser responsible. Turns out, some chick thought she could check Kong Haeon like that, but his brain just clicked too. Snap. She's a ranged fighter. Ignoring the damage, he sarcastically thanked her for the tip. He dashed over and crushed her hand in a vice grip. With crazy eyes, our hero decided to return the favor. Let me teach you something cool too, he grinned. The girl was too shook to even twitch, frozen in terror. Kang Hyan charged up his mana, wanting to make this look flashy. A split second later, the woods echoed with a nasty scream of pure agony. Dude basically shredded her arm like it was wet paper. She hit the dirt, shaking uncontrollably from the pain. He sneered at the wreckage. That was just a warm-up, honey. Glancing up, he spotted a new squad rolling in. A fresh batch of goons had popped up out of nowhere. Judging by their mugs, they weren't fans of his work. One dude grabbed his gear instantly. He barked, yo, who said you could crash our turf? Smirking, the thug gave him some friendly advice. Don't expect to leave this place breathing, kid. Kong Hyan blinked. More fights. Seriously. Then he smiled like a psycho. Perfect. He needed a GPS. See? Dungeon life changes you. It's brutal. Only the absolute units survive down here. It's basically survival of the fittest. You gotta get savage just to make it through the day. But the boss man, he just wanted the bag. Last year, he was a total nobody. Now, he's living the high life. Somehow, he scammed his way to guild leader status. He figured he was untouchable in his own yard. So he decided to start beef with the wrong guy. That ego trip was his funeral. Kang Hyan was ready to school him. Blink, and the boss was eating dirt with a smashed face. Moments later, our boy had wrecked the whole crew. Anyone blocking the exit got folded like laundry. He took a shank to the gut, but still one bare. Ignoring the hole in his stomach, he yanked the steel out. He spun on the losers, still conscious. Line up. You got 5 seconds. Licking the blood off the blade. He smiled. Interview tongue. The gang fell in line fast. They knew who was boss now. Finally, picked a winner. He grabbed kimono and told the crew to clap. They froze, wondering if he was trolling. Kang Hyan flashed his blade at the boss, who started clapping like crazy. What about the rejects? The bandit asked. He paused, eyeing the villain squad. You guys gonna be good boys now? They swore they'd quit crime forever. But he just started swinging, 'cause he knew they were totally lying. Killers always lie, right? So he wrecked the boss while they watched. Kim, the chosen one, was shaken hard. Done dusting him, he dragged his guide off. Not every dungeon is the same, but some are legit cities. This place is huge, he said. Suspecting a trap? The kid denied it. Kim said he was just dodging mobs. Kang Hyan hated that vibe. Gun out, he said. Boring. I want action. The kid was ready to find some beasts ASAP. Not in the dark? Dummy. Kim was confused. Kang Hyan called for a break and asked for grub. Fire lit. He was starving. Guide stared at all his swords. Ramen smelled amazing cooking. Been ages since he ate real food. He grabbed it barehanded. Kim gasped. Dig in, he said, acting like the chef. While slurping noodles, Kang Hyan asked Izzy. 25, did you go to college? He figured the kid could have stayed in school, not joined a gang. Kim said tuition was too high. Plus his dad went bankrupt, so they were broke. Kang Hyan hated the sob story. Shut it. Told him to. Eat and hush. Bedtime soon. Dinner done? Fire out? Lights out? Turns out, Sunu was totally faking it. Just lying there, waiting for the main dude to crash hard. He popped up, ready to ditch this nightmare. Crept around Hyan, who looked terrifying even while snoring. Flashbacks of his crew getting wrecked flooded his brain. Realizing he couldn't beat this monster, he bailed on revenge. Time to He tiptoed out, trying not to wake his captor. Jokes on him. Our hero was wide awake and asked where he was creeping off to. Sunu stammered a lame excuse about a bathroom break. Hyan just shrugged. Do your business right here then. Adding, run, and you're toast. He wasn't kidding. Come morning, they headed for the Goblin HQ, the main village. Our guy sensed the insane magic vibe nearby. Sunu was totally lost on what meant to Hyan. Thought the kid could sense it too. You clueless noob, Hyan sighed. Sunu tried to keep his cool, knowing this nightmare would end soon. Figured the mobs would eat Hyan, letting him bolt. Every goblin was huddled around the core. Usually they send out scouts, which guilds normally pick off. But Sunu realized they hadn't seen a single soul, which meant the whole army was home. Good luck, buddy. Our hero was actually stoked for the brawl. He's a pro goblin slicer after all. He charged straight at the massive horde, eyes glowing with pure, chaotic battle hunger. Suddenly, a shove from behind nearly floored him. Hyan whipped around instantly. It was Sunu, already sprinting away. Yelenias, knowing hope we never meet again. Hyan just stood there, watching the kid dash into the woods. He actually felt bad, knowing that kid is total monster chow out there. Miles away, Sunu leaned against a tree to catch his breath. He was 100% sure that no matter how tough Hyan was, he wasn't walking out of that mess. Suddenly, a system alert popped up. Core destroyed. Exit portal activated. Jaw-dropping, he thought he was hallucinating. That dude wiped out the entire goblin army. No way. 0 basic loot drops here. Sunu froze by the exit. How'd Kang Hyan speedrun this whole dungeon solo? Briefly, the dude stared at the pop-ups, totally shook. No clue how the MC handled that insane goblin swarm. Thought he nuked them with fire magic. But nope, wrong. Sunu knew. The guy was buff, but had no idea of his true hacks. Maybe just maxed out strength and HP. But that wasn't the only cheat code. Even with tons of hits, he tanked it and kept wrecking mobs. Anyway, versus a horde, you gotta be chill and not wet yourself when they rush you. Tank the hits, rush the boss. Yeah, doable. That's how Kang Hyan blitzed the shaman boss. Sunu was still kinda sus. Too risky, one lag spike and it's game over. He knew the MC could scrap from day one. But now, terrified, they messed with a beast. The guys clearly got god tier stats. Kang Hyan was tough enough to punch the boss out and clear the map. White and improved brute force is the meta. So, just for the clear, he snagged a crystal and a magic buff ring. Bro instantly equipped his shiny loot, stoked he actually pulled it off. Nothing else on? So, he exited, thinking about smacking some. Back IRL, the dude just gawked at what was camping the exit point. Massive mob, way bigger than the last squad. Whole guild here to gank him. Kinda flattering. He started to scan the sea of goons for his target. Boom, spotted Sanu. Dude totally called for backup. Kang Hyun stretched, claiming he'd wipe him in 30 minutes. Then some, Rondo shouted. It was just a big misunderstanding. Guy steps up, claiming they weren't here to throw hands, just to talk and apologize for being jerks. He's Zong Ahin, bait guild boss, asked for a name. Boss man offers a handshake to Kang Hyun, left him hanging. Zero trust there. Told him to cut the act. Jong Hyun got salty. The boss realized chatting was going nowhere, so he decided to keep it real. Turns out, they all wanted Kang Hyun in their mob. Promised respect, loot, and a leadership gig. Jung Hyun needed to bag this powerhouse at all costs to make his guild top tier. The kid stayed quiet, just letting out a massive sigh that screamed, "Oof, seriously." Finally, Kang Hyun gave them a hard nope on joining the club. But the boss didn't quit. He kinda knew the guy would flake. The guildmaster flashed a shiny gold business card at our hero. Our boy held the fancy card in his hands for a sec, giving it a solid once-over. Then, to make a point, he shredded that thing into confetti. He knows he's no saint, but he ain't rolling with trash like them. RMC couldn't believe these silas losers tried to recruit him. Sensing the boss's rage, Kang Hyun smirked. "You wanna go? Let's dance." The suit stayed chill, reminded him they were strictly there for business. He said they could chat later if the guy actually introduced himself. The kid rudely told the goons to get lost. Mad they popped up like roaches everywhere, dragging him into this mess. Jung Joon confirmed this fighter was definitely not normal. Kim Sianu was actually kind of fanboying over him. Suddenly, the kid spun around and saw the boss's shadow looming. Meanwhile, our main character hopped in his ride, thinking about that craziness. He saw like a full 100 dudes from the guild gathering. With 0 mana left, he had to bail fast. He just realized he totally forgot Sona, thanks to that creep Jung. Kang Hyun figured he'd just head home for now, since he'd get another shot to wreck that traitor next time anyway. Back at the scene, a beat-up squad leader was trying to explain to Joan Ji-hyun how the hero slipped away. The boss asked Kim Sun-woo voice I scored if that was true. The guy couldn't explain himself, so the leader grabbed his blade. The lackey realized what the boss was gonna do. He started shaking, too scared to speak. He begged, promising to do anything to get Jung Hoyen's forgiveness. The leader asked if the dude really wanted to live that bad, and if he'd seriously do any task to fix this. Suddenly, Kim Sun-woo felt a sharp pain. Yep, begging was useless. Turns out, the boss had zero intention of showing mercy. The kid was already bleeding out from a chest stab. Jung Joon was disgusted. A worm like him thought he could survive that mess. Yoinked the blade from Gutsplat. Then he yeeted the dude away like total trash. Bro definitely didn't expect to get yeeted like that. Tried to yell at the guildies, but oopsie was already bit by bit. He ghosted into the void, and the door slammed shut. Bang. Door closed, trapping Kimono in the freezing dark forever. The guild crew just froze, watching the dungeon portal crumble to dust. Kwai got wrecked by Jong Yan turning to his deputy, sword gripped tight. Guild boss only cared about one thing. Who was that main character guy? Turns out, the dude already had eyes on Kang Hyun, who was just cruising home. A white whip sped behind him with one of Bates's spies inside. Jung Yeon was big mad some Rondo rejected his fat cash offer. Hero better be as tough as his ego. If he wants to stay in one piece, Boz was already plotting how the guy would squeal when bad stuff hit his loved ones. Dude chose violence since the hero didn't get the memo otherwise. Meanwhile, Han and Hyen didn't clue in on the manhunt, just planned dinner and paid mom's hospital bills. They didn't wait and hit a BBQ joint for some grub. Sis was shook that a jobless grad could afford beef on the regular. Hero didn't care. What else was he gonna blow cash on? Sis decided to help. Big bro out and grilled up some meat. Kang Han asked if she visited the hospital and how mom was doing. She said doc thinks mom's healing up and waking up soon. Kang Yoon saw that even a chill dude like her bro cracked a smile at the news. He hadn't smiled in ages, just walking around with a perma-scowl lately. Our guy didn't get it, cause he thought he smiled plenty. But Lil Sis was like, not that creepy psycho grin bro. Suddenly, Kang Hyun clutched his gut. Weird vibes, rumbling inside. He yelled emergency, bolting for the loo, ignoring her meats. Ready? He heard her, but the urge was too strong to care. After dropping the low, he figured this was karma for his 2-day dungeon trip. Exiting the restroom, something instantly caught his eye. Kang Hun blinked. Some Rondo was lurking by their table. Sis saw him and pointed, like this weirdo's looking for you? The creep quickly spun around and bowed. Hello. Strange dude just dipped without a word. Sis stared him down the whole time. She thought Sis was just trolling the boys, but she swore it was his pal. He was shook and asked if it was real. Then An handed him a sketchy note meant for him. Kang Hyen figured if it was a homie, they wouldn't dip without a sup. He went quiet reading the weird message inside. Uga, a letter from the bait guild boss, nagging about an invite. After stuffing their faces, they bailed, but Kang Hyen hit the mark first. Sis totally thought he wanted more brew, but nope, not his vibe. She was thirsty though, planning to get tipsy solo. Bro wasn't having it. He sent her home while he dashed in. In 2 secs, he grabbed his gear and bounced. Easy peasy. Walking the wrecked street, he stressed over recent drama. He was low-key scared. Those creeps were plotting to target his family. He figured he should quit dungeons and lay low, but he couldn't exactly babysit Aeon at work. Suddenly, his train of thought derailed when his phone buzzed. Dad's name popped up. Kang Hyen froze. Dad asked if he was home. He said he was out. Turns out, Dad had epic news. Mom woke up. Kang Hyen, hyped up, asked if she was good. Dad said she needs care but will recover. He let out a massive sigh. One less thing to stress about. Then Dad said some friend visited Mom. He was clueless. No pal of his would go there. Dad kinda recalled the name, Zhang Yi. Guy said hi. Dad thought it was a neighbor, since he'd never seen him before. Slowly, the mess clicked for him. Kang Hoon raged. Bait Guild was using his fam as leverage. Next morning, at Awakened School, Aeon met a friend asking why she was late. They started chatting, casually about their weekend. Suddenly, a creeper nearby interrupted M. It was Miss Shinsuna sharing coffee. They said she shouldn't have bothered, but she just wanted to be nice. She dipped a quick bow, telling her minions to have a chill day. Her squad looked totally lost, just gawking at Shinsuna like zombies. They thought it was super sus how their boss lady was always rockin' full armor. But hey, she's still a total sweetheart. One girl cracked her latte, gushing how Sona's basically an angel. She giggled, cause Amian definitely had the tea, on who's actually special versus just plain weird. She instantly pictured the school's top 2 disasters. One snapped his rival's arm sparring, while the other looked like a straight-up thug. Anman struggled to even speak on it since that dude literally haunted her dreams looking like a raging orc monster. Out of nowhere, she felt those creepy vibes crawling up her spine. She whipped around fast to see who was ruining the vibe. Lo and behold, there stood the main guy, looking absolutely wrecked after hearing his fam was in trouble again. Han was so shook she couldn't even blink at her worst nightmare. The dude just kept staring with dead-eye super creepy stuff. Finally, the girls lost it and screamed loud enough to wake the dead. They were seconds away from calling the cops. Terrified, silent Kang Hyen was gonna throw hands, or something. Bro tried reaching out just to tell M to chill and explain himself, but that just made the freak out worse. And Mon instantly cooled it when he name-dropped Mr. Kim. The guy was so stressed he could barely form a sentence. Finally, he managed to say he was hunting for the head coach. He figured that dude was the key to saving his fam from haters. Her squad was shook. They had zero clue what his deal was. Eventually, the girl took a chill pill and tried to explain where Kim Yoon was hiding out. Turns out he's barely around, so he wasn't even on campus. Cut to the office. The coach is boring everyone with dungeon stats. Basically, it was super important to recruit talented folks with actual skills right now. A knock interrupted their chat, confusing Kimmy cause he didn't invite anyone. He told the worker they were still in the middle of stuff, but the guy was way too hyped about something huge. The worker said there was some drama in the lobby, cause a buddy of the deputy just barged in. Kim Yoon was totally floored by that random news, and tensed up, guessing exactly who it might be. Finally, they met the guest and went to hash out the drama. Aviette was the main character, but the coach didn't expect a reunion this fast, even though she hinted at it. Now Kim Yoon asked his ex-student what the deal was. The guy kept it short. He needed a coach, and was ready to spill. Sipping on his drink, Kim Yoon told the student to spill the tea on his drama. Kang Hyen finally confessed the Bait Guild creeps were harassing his fam to trigger him. He made it clear he needed a babysitter for his family while he exterminated those rats solo. Teach was totally shook by the info. He asked what the kid did, knowing that Guild had major bad vibes, but with zero receipts on them, nobody could really bust them. So, our MC decided to handle these thugs himself, which honestly does society a solid. Kim Yoon guessed he wasn't picked just cause he was in Dongan Guild, and the kid confirmed he just thought Teach was a. The teacher had pitched Inyong since that guy is also a beast in martial arts. But the kid wouldn't trust his fam with a psycho like that. Plus, no digits. Finally, Kang Hyen begged Teach to guard his fam for 1 week, promising big bucks. The instructor paused, cringing a bit, not wanting to sound like a total flexer. He said he's already caked up way more than the kid guessed. Being deputy guild leader pays the bills, obviously, so if you want favors, you gotta offer something spicy, not just cash. Kang Hyen thought hard and reached a super wild conclusion about Teach's wants. He figured Kim Yoon was low-key hinting at wanting the kid's body. But the instructor Def wasn't vibing like that. He was terrified of what other weird stuff was cooking in the hero's brain. So, he quickly pivoted to a legit biz deal. He asked to meet their leader later, so the guild could officially back the kid. Our hero was totally down for those terms. Boom! 5 guards were instantly posted at his parents' spot, plus 5 more watching his lil sis at work, just to be safe. Kang Hae dug the serious effort, but Kim Yun just wanted to play it safe so nothing went sideways. They rolled up to the Bait Guild HQ. Teach wasn't sure if soloing this dungeon was smart with that crowd inside. The kid paused for a few seconds, but figured Dingen Guild was way bigger anyway. Kim Yun clapped back that a crew's power ain't about building size. Bro, these dudes had cleared a bunch of dungeons, okay? That track record proved they were tough cookies. Plus, Kang Hyen hit them up the second he got the note, so they've likely mobbed up, killing any chance of a surprise attack. Our MC flashed back to panic dialing the number on the letter. Still, he had to make that call, cause the safety of family first, right? That bought him time to snag a coach. Chat over Kang Huan tossed his pal a tiny item. Hold this for me. Kim Yoon was clueless about the gift and started panicking. Our boy rushed out. Park at the crib, Bam. Don't overthink it, he said, adding, can't spill the tea yet, but I won't die. Back tomorrow. McCad zero chill to waste any more seconds. Left Kim alone with his wild guesses. Soon Kang Hyen rolled up to the Bait Guild HQ. Jung Jun was lurking. Grinned like a creep. Finally. Behind him, a whole mob of goons ready to jump him. Kang Hyen cracked up seeing that Big Boss sweating his power levels so hard. Crowded much, he figured it was some lame hazing test. Boss capped that plastic smile. Mr. Kang Hyen, your bait fam now. Squad's here to say hi. Hearing that she's her MC. Busted a gut. Zhang Yi Hyen froze, looking totally insulted. Kang Hyen raged. How dare these scumbags preach about family? Yo, boss, flip that word around. Know what you get. MC sounded psycho explaining kayak twists into Joka. Family becomes shackles. Get it. Zero pity party. Heap up. Lion's roar of fury first, then prepped a magic blast. Slammed full power into the floor. Guild dudes were shook. Caught M sleeping. Zero reaction time. Kang Hyen's plans working like a charm. Goons scrambled to dodge debris, flying everywhere. This kid's mental. They realized nobody got the vibe. Why punch the floor? Look, super Seuss. Then, panic mode. Screams erupted as the ground beneath them started crumbling away. Bossman clicked. You psycho, he yelled, realizing the play. Below, just metal rebar. The safety net that could save their sorry butts. McNuth. Time to wreck the net too. Boom. Secret Wayne Tech. Unleashed a giant power. +1 strike. 2 halves. A few hits and bye-bye safety net. Total wreck. Guild rats tried to scamper, but clock ran out. The whole floor gave way, and down they went. Straight into the creepy basement. The goons were totally wrecked, pancaked into the asphalt like roadkill. Our boy took a spill, but he's built like a tank, so 0 damage. Pop that more of ears, shrewd again total lifesaver. Kang Hun heard the boss yapping behind him. Guys like a roach just won't die. He sighed at the dude, waiting to see what Mr. Baitbreath would try next. Guy was like, don't be an idiot. We could be besties if you chill. Our hero figured he was tripping. Jin Yoon crossed the line ages ago. The boss guessed he was salty about the whole stalking his family vibe, so he dropped a fake sorry and told Kang Han to get a clue. We team up. We crushed Dongan and put Hans in her place. He hyped. You get how epic that is? I get how epic your brain damage is. He snapped back. Then came the flex. I got over 200 guys here, and way more swarming the whole country. He claimed they just needed a mascot face for the brand. Needs a Chad to lead the herd so they can go global. The MC had 0 respect, so he hawked a loogie right in his face. Dead silence. Total awkward turtle moment. 2. Kang Hun. This guy sounded completely bananas. Post that rant on YouTube. He smirked. You'd go viral as a clown. Jung Yoon didn't say a word. Joel swiped the spit off his cheek. Gross. He started vibrating with rage. Typical MC behavior though, the boss decided. The scrub couldn't grasp his master plan. Kang Hun just chilled while the other guy started spewing insults cause he got rejected. He almost burst out laughing. Dude looked so thirsty. Then he yelled to the goons upstairs. Yo, you guys hearing this garbage? For real. He kept trolling the boss, calling him a wannabe king. It worked like a charm, cause the guy turned purple with pure realized Kohun wasn't swiping right on his offer. So he screamed, end him, now. Mages started spamming confusion spells instantly. The Malay crew on the other Side-aim their sticks, firing darkness hex. Kong Hun didn't even flinch at the light show. He triggered a lion's roar to clear the debuff. Ring blocked the mind games. Suddenly, the bad guys totally glitched out. Like their stats and vibes just crashed hard. Chung Yoon's confused why his minions paused and glared. He yelled for them to move, do their job, and wreck this kid already. Boss screaming woke him up, so they charge mana to nuke our boy. Kong Hyan's hyped that more noobs want to try him. Time to see if his Marvel Shield tanks magic? Boom. Huge explosion. And everyone peeked to see if the MC got toasted, or what. Guildies realized he's alive and scrambled to help the mage. Mobs dropped from the sky to stop Kang Hyun leaving. Every single one rushed. Right at the blast zone. Mages queued up round 2. Surprise, plot armor kicked in 0 damage. And he one-shotted every enemy in his path. Chong Yun lost it, growling like a beast. Hero takes a massive breath for a lion's roar. He taunted him, and the blast shook the whole building. A sec later, the smoke cleared, showing the base looking extra crispy. Kang Hoon's catching his breath after that wipe. Bodies everywhere. Guess they couldn't handle him. Even after that sweaty fight, the protag is still standing, ready for more drama. Jung Jun, nervous, laughed, asking, "What's your deal?" Pointed a finger and called him out, saying our hero's a killer, just like them. The hero didn't care about the guilt trip, figuring if you kill, you gotta be ready to die too. Jong Yi-hun ain't scared, sure that Kang Hun's gonna perish. Suddenly, the debris underneath started vibrating like something's pushing up. Boss saw the hero flagging and popped his ult to end it. Gross tentacles burst up and grabbed Kang Hyun instantly. He tried to scoff, not noticing the sneak attack behind. Next thing, the hero saw his own face in the blade sticking through his chest. Kang Hoon froze in shock. Didn't see that coming at all. Realized it might actually be game over, even after he tanked the whole raid for so long. Jung Yoon grinned, hyping up his deputy for absolutely wrecking the main target. He told him to leave the loser alive, so he could land the final blow himself. The deputy left his blade in our boy, backing off so the big boss could finish the job. Bosman was shook that Kang was still breathing. After taking that damage, he'd trade his whole crew for a tank like this. But nah, you can't tame a wild beast, so he had to go. He asked if Kang had any final words. Kang just told him to choke on his lunch. Jung wasn't even shocked. That the kid stayed salty till the bitter end. Time to end it. He grabbed Kang's head like a melon. Going full villain mode, he decided to literally melt Kang's face off. Zero. Chill. The pain was insane. Kang screamed as his face sizzled. Jung didn't even flinch at the horror movie soundtrack. Just lit a smoke, totally Status, he asked. 30, dead. 50 wounded. The goon replied. The boss was super annoyed. All that damage from one guy? Embarrassing. Strip his gear, he ordered. Might cover our costs. But then, one of the lackeys let out a weird yelp. Yo, he's gone. Kang's body just glitched out of existence. Cut to evening. Our boy respawned at home with a massive debuff. Sis was confused seeing him back so early. She clocked him immediately. Something was off. Coming out of the spawn point. You died again, didn't you? Kong ignored the question. Is there food? Was all he said. But she wasn't letting him slide. She noticed something gross. He tracked dirt inside with his shoes. Again, cue the apology tour. She hates when he wears dirty armor in her clean house. Fast forward 2 days. To a dungeon entrance, owned by the Bait Guild, leading to guild goons were standing guard. Totally bored since nobody visits their shady guild anymore. Why is everyone scared of losing loot? One guard mused. Then he snapped to attention. Footsteps. Some rondo walked up, looking super suspicious. Full gear, but wearing a ball. Sketchy. He just stood there, staring down the guards silently. The guards exchanged looks. Who is this weirdo? Meanwhile, our main dude, finally, clocked that his wild rampage was basically like tossing eggs at a brick wall. I mean, yeah, having infinite ammo is cool, but eating that respawn penalty every single time? Total buzz. So he figured, why not just pick off the guild goons, one by one? Way easier. Time to crash every single dungeon these losers owned, and sweep the floor with them. He tracked down the first batch, and was busy wrecking the last guy when the dude started saying sorry. Kang Hun paused, totally confused, and was like, wait, what did you even do to be apologizing right now? Shaking like a leaf, the grunt admitted he had zero clue why he was sorry. That answer ticked our hero off, so he shoved the guy hard. Don't apologize if you don't know why, dummy. Hitting the dirt, the goon saw a blank sheet of paper land next to him. Kang Hoon tossed the survivor a pen and barked, list every dungeon you creeps own. Now, he promised to let the guy go if he just did this one simple thing. While the bait member was scribbling down all the spots, Kang Hoon threw out another question. How have you clowns not been busted yet? You've offed so many people, but always managed to cover your tracks perfectly. He figured they probably paid off the cops or something. But this low-level lackey didn't know the juicy details. He guessed it was because they only raided dungeons with 0 security cams. A minute later, the grunt handed over the paper with all the tea spilled on it. Kong-hun scanned the list of bait guild hideouts for a sec. He smirked, called the guy a good boy, and reached out a hand. But psych, he wasn't actually gonna let him walk. Mana started glowing in his palm. With a magic blast, he instantly vaporized the last witness. Kong-hun knew he couldn't be sloppy if he wanted to stay hidden. He'd been leaving bodies everywhere, and he wasn't about to let a messy trail stop his revenge on Jung-yoon. Meanwhile, the internet was blowing up with rumors, claiming monsters had gone wild inside a famous guild building. Jung-yoon was absolutely losing it over the bad press. He sat glued to his office computer, doom-scrolling through the news updates. He hated using a monster outbreak excuse to cover up that psycho's attack. Suddenly, a staffer burst in, looking totally panicked and trying to report something. Before the guy could speak, Jung-yoon chucked something heavy at his head. An ashtray. Asterisk clang. It hit the floor hard. The boss, already in a foul mood, screamed, "Who let you waltz in here?" The dude bent way over, apologizing to his boss for acting so cringe. Turns out, he just wanted to say that Weirdo was back on the radar. Jung-hyun was totally shook that the scumbag who looted dungeons and wasted hundreds of members was still kicking. He didn't get what this loser's deal was, or why he'd crashed the party at the absolute worst time. Finally, he ordered max security and forced sleep shifts for everyone there. Meanwhile, the guard, still leaking red from a head bonk, took orders and dipped to get it done. After that drama, Jung-hee, at his desk to stress over the latest mess, that chaos maker Kong-hyun was living rent-free in the leader's head. It had been 5 days since the dude got jumped. Then his body vanished. And 2 days later, dungeon raids started. He decided it was all way too sus with all those coincidences piling up, so he figured the main carrot had a sidekick, totally missing the real truth. He just couldn't grasp how the dude hid his body so slick. So they had 0 dirt to clap back with. Eventually, Jung had to grab his phone for a super awkward call. He waited through long rings until the right guy finally picked up. The dude threw shade, but Jung had to chill or risk losing his backup. Leader asked for help, making the other guy LOL and ask what's up. This dude even dared to roast him about the Bates Guild being the only news lately. He quit the sass and asked what the payout was for this assist. Jung briefly replied that his homie could join a totally epic showdown. He knew this wild guy loved brawls and the target was special. Turns out the leader was chatting with Ian, who was already down. The guy bought the story but decided to fact-check Jung's claims. Solo night hit and the fighter went to a sketchy factory dungeon. He got one guard to help handle their mystery enemy properly. Ian was totally bored, so he asked his partner's name. Dude said he was Kim. He admitted he didn't care about the temp and wouldn't remember it. He was itching for a unique rival to appear, but Loki doubted he'd actually show up. Guys started threatening cause waiting for nothing is 0 fun. The rep ghosted Eon's comments, acting like he wasn't even there. The dude finally spotted someone coming, so he got on guard ASAP. It was the main character, still hiding behind a ski mask. Ian smirked instantly, totally hyped for a spicy showdown. He stiffened up. His spidey senses had never screamed this loud before. Usually, it just gave a polite little buzz. Now, full-on siren mode, like, you're gonna die vibes. If he wanted to keep breathing, he had to bail. That dude was a beast. For his part, Kong-hoon squinted, sizing up the new guy. Wait, something felt super sus. No way. Why was his school buddy chilling here? Yon froze solid. He'd know that voice anywhere. Had to be him. Totally shocked. He was like, "Bro, what are you doing here?" Kong didn't say squat, but the dude figured it out anyway. Ian realized his pal was the one slicing and dicing through the mob. Weird hobby for free time, but okay. Then it clicked. Teed said some big shot was backing the guild. His rich buddy fit the bill perfectly. Classic Nepo, baby. He didn't waste a sex sword point right at the throat of his pal. Talk about an awkward reunion. Kang was ticked. Was this guy seriously working for the baddies? Honestly, Ian looked kinda hurt. Bro would lump him in with this trash. But our hero was fuming. Why hang out in a dump like this? So, the guy points back. Yo, this guild belongs to Zhang-yi. He couldn't help it. Watching some thug beg for help was just too funny. Now Kong got it. Typical young move. 0 surprise there. Beef squashed. He just told him to step aside. Stepping up to fight the guard, he tossed back. Lunch later, the dude barely listened. Just realized he didn't even have Kang's digit. Also didn't notice Yuzin was about to stab him in the back. Literally, specifically, right now. Clang. Weapon smashed. But her boy blocked it like a pro. Kang's eyes went full demon mode. Betrayed by his homie? Not cool, man. The crazy kid just laughed. It was getting boring. Dude, Kong saw red. Time to teach this clown a lesson. Swords crashed again, sparks flying, tension spiking. Kang figured he might as well toss his buddy in the dungeon too. Yusan wasn't quitting, but he was definitely sweating bullets. No, time to stop playing nice. He popped the giant strength in Wayne's secret move. He lunged, blade zooming straight for his buddy's face. Zero chill his opponent, dodged sideways just in time. Sick reflex. Whoa, that blade missed the target by a single hair. It sliced his cheek, leaking red, but the kid looked hyped, not scared. Yusan totally realized right then. His buddy was an even bigger beast than back in high school. Zero fear of the chaos just made the brawl spicy. That crazy dude just kept cackling like a maniac, spamming attacks on a brick wall. Honestly, Kang Haein wasn't vibing with this mess at all because it was just a massive time sink. Damn, he gritted his teeth, trying to speedrun this useless fight. But nope, couldn't do squat since the other guy was overpowered. Low-key though, Kang Haein was kinda getting into the rhythm. Been ages since he felt a battle rush this intense. Yusan caught that smirk and knew his bro was loving it too. He was about to ramp up the fun, but a guild guard totally crashed the party. Both of them froze instantly, shocked as some dude with a sword charged in super fast. Kimu just wanted a fat payout for helping his teammate. Didn't see the instant karma flying right at his face? Psycho hated interruptions. One clean hit, and the meddler was toast. The body hit the dirt hard, crimson spray hanging in the air like a glitch for a second. Yusan finally hit pause on attacking the main character. He was livid. Some noob ruined the fun, right at the peak. Meanwhile, RMC noted these dudes weren't friends since Yusan zeroed the guard instantly. He sighed, totally over it, in no rush to keep brawling. Said the vibe was dead, even if he craved a real one-on-one. Truth is, the kid still wanted smoke but didn't want the hero hating his guts. Yusan didn't get he was already annoying his bud to the max. He brushed it off, asking if the hero knew what a massive tool Zhang Yun was yet. Claimed the boss is a rich kid bastard, hence the ego trip. Kang Haein thought it sounded like a soap opera, but a rich villain wouldn't stop him. If that scared him, he wouldn't have even started the game. Told his pal to quit yapping and go catch some sleep. Yusan tried to block his exit, insisting he hear the full pitch first. Grabbed his shoulder, grinning. I want to join your squad. Just dying to see Zhang Yun rage quit over it. So, they really stirred the pot that night. Judging by the boss's reaction, yeah, they nailed it. Then he started shaking the desk in rage. 3 more dungeons got raided, and Inyang was ghosting him. Zhang Yun screamed at his squad, calling them total trash who couldn't handle a simple job. The poor lackey stood there, listening to the boss rant about wasting cash on losers who couldn't beat a week. Whatevs. After his lil meltdown, the guy chilled out, gasped for air, and got ready to bark orders. He told his deputy to round up every single guild member and drag them here by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. The staffer panicked, sweating bullets about how to gather that many fighters. Zhang Hun didn't give a rip. Excuses like sickness, family funerals, or whatever, totally irrelevant. Everyone shows up or else. The deputy nervously mentioned that peeps were quitting the guild left and right. So, tons of them were Mia. Boswin full psycho. Kidnap their families, threaten them, make them come. The employee hesitated, trying not to cringe, because things at Bait were already super sketch and explosive. If they started threatening their own crew while people were bailing, total chaos, waiting to happen. The guild leader felt his rage meter spiking again, since he literally couldn't handle the mountain of drama crashing down on him. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. Unknown caller ID. Talk about suspicious timing. The voice on the line jumped straight into mocking Jung Hoon about his recent string of bad luck. He recognized the voice instantly. So, he chilled out. Maybe this mess was going to be an easy fix after all. Online, netizens were gossiping hard. Where's Bait Guild? Haven't seen him raiding lately? Our main guy and his buddy were lurking, enjoying the chaos they caused. Their plan was working perfectly. Only been a week, but after clearing another dungeon, Kang Wan decided, let's wrap this up. Yun was kinda bummed cause trolling him was fun. He wondered how the guild would go down in flames. He pondered it for a SEC, then figured, might as well spill the beans on my idea. Making sure no eavesdroppers were around, he leaned in to whisper super softly. He laid out his savage master plan for the Bait Guild in a hush-hush tone. Even Inyong, who's basically nuts, stared at him like, bro, have you officially lost your marbles? Next day, Zhang Huin got a challenge note inviting him to the Forest of Disruins on Mount Su. Fuming, he crushed the scrap of paper. He was ready to wreck this dude in a fair fight. He couldn't wait to rip that smug look off his face, literally, and mount his skull as a trophy. Back at base, the grunts were complaining. No one wanted this suicide mission, but bailing meant facing the boss's wrath. Chong Yihan overheard the whole thing. He couldn't believe he was stuck hauling this trash around, but he was mostly mad at the jerk stressing him out. Standing in that wrecked office, bro flashed back to the call. Some random contact on the other end was like, "Yo, need a hand?" Guild boss was hyped since he had zero clue how to reach this guy. So he begged Dana Yusin for a solid, even laughed like, "Dude, impeccable timing." Hun swore he'd pay up and his dad would handle the rest. But his buddy wasn't feeling that vibe at all. Mystery guy was like, "Who's handling who?" and figured Hun was clueless. Finally, he just straight up hung up, totally crushing the leader's last hope. Hun raged hard, thinking this guy was way worse than any. So salty, he torched the letter right in his hands. Now he just wanted to see how long his pal would survive. Cut to the crib of that shady guy who knew guild leader bait way too well. His minion rushed in to say the squad was assembled and Hun actually showed up personally. He figured since they were supposedly homies, they could send backup. After all, Mr. Choi Mijin was chillin', just sipping hot coffee like nothing's up. Thought things were Gucci, so why support that trash? But the aide knew if Hun croaked, his dad would flip out. Seems the boss really hated when Peeps brought up Sansu, that dude's dad, so he decided to school his lackey real quick. Fighter couldn't even blink before the boss choked him out. He flailed helplessly while Chunjin watched, totally bored. Boss asked if he really should bow down to some geezer. Gasping for air, the goon tried to say that's not what he meant. Begging for forgiveness. Took a breath, chilled out, and decided to let the aide live. He loosened his grip, dropping the dude onto the couch. Terrified lackey grabbed his throat, wheezing for air. Chimanjun told him to go do a job and find new targets for them to fund. Meanwhile, Bait Guild hit the Durang Forest. Just like the note said, the boss asked what time it was. His aide said it was already 6 hours and 3 minutes. He was ticked Nami invited them but totally go. Everyone started thinking they just wasted their time. Anyway, Jung Gi-hoon told the crew to stay on. Gardu knows if there's an ambush waiting. Suddenly, the aide spotted something and alerted the boss. They squinted and saw a weird, thick dust cloud in the field. Every single guild member. Tension spiked. Nobody knew what to expect from this ghost. Turns out, it's our hero leading a literal wolf pack. Kang Hun's eyes looked manic, craving their reaction. Jaws dropped when they saw a face that should be dead. A clone? Jang Yi-hoon froze. He'd literally seen the guy's corpse. Meanwhile, our guy noticed the awkward silence and reached into his giant sack. He yanked something out. "Got a present for ya." Kang Hoon held a tiny, super fluffy puppy. The guild realized it was a monster baby, but way too cute to hate. Then he suddenly yeeted the pup right at the crowd. Full force throw. That fur ball was flying fast. The fighters gasped, shocked that he went full psycho and tossed a cute animal like a ball. One guy dropped his weapon to save the doggy. He sprinted forward, arms out to catch the pup. The confused baby monster had no clue what was up. Plop, right into the big softy's arms. Safe. The warrior let out a huge sigh. Relief. Thank goodness the fluff ball was safe. Everyone else stared, fighting the urge to pet it. They were totally ticked off that the hero would treat a critter like that. But Jang Hoon yelled at his goons to shut up. Boz realized he was dealing with a total lunatic. He eyed the bag. The guy kidnapped babies as bait. Obviously, the angry monster parents wouldn't let it slide. They chased the hero right into the mob. Kang Hoon didn't hesitate, and dumped the whole sack of cubs on him. Warriors looked up, terrified the pups would go splat. Everyone scrambled to catch the little furballs raining down on their heads. Distraction successful. He leaped up to attack. He aimed a massive smash at Jang Hun, who barely dodged it. Meanwhile, giant angry wolves arrived to shred everyone. They were attacking from everywhere. The guild was toast. The boss had to take the first hit, but popped a fire shield just in time. Meanwhile, Kang Hoon ghosted past the mobs, heading for the portal with zero drama. Jung Jun realized he had to cut the guy loose. Saving my own neck mattered more. Finally, he toasted the muzzle on one of the blasters, so he could clock the big bad's moves. Big brain play, 'cause those ghost wolves are a total pain. But our boy wrecked their whole setup with a sudden burst. The boss started shaking with rage. Again, all over, realizing he was absolutely cooked. He finally called a retreat, ordering his goons to back row dudes were hyped, sprinting for the exit first. Most were already planning to rage quit the guild 'cause things got messy. Psychian blocked the exit, hardly looking friendly. Everyone froze in a daze, totally clueless on what to do next. Meanwhile, the dude whipped out his mace to smash heads. Nobody reacted, so Hero's pal landed a free hit as Yuzin kept spinning that mace like a pro, left and right, wrecking every scrub in his way. Kid's wild eyes flashed amidst the splatter of Jung Jun Gate as his old buddy flipped sides and started trashing his crew. Couldn't believe the snitching or when it even happened. Knew it was over, but desperately looked for a loophole. Scanning. The mess Jung Jun tried to brainstorm a quick escape. Eyes darting everywhere, breath hitching like crazy. Panic had him in a chokehold. tight, looked over to see Kang Hyun and Yang deleting his pals. He just kept to freeze up, cause it seemed totally hopeless. Finally, Jungkook decided to go nuclear since he lost. He balled his fist and lit himself up with his own fire skills. Guildies got tossed, just groaning and taking massive L's. Our MC had zero chill and wasn't stopping. Anyone in reach was having a super bad day. Surprised at the mob, swarming like nasty roaches, wanted to whine about how drained he was, but heard a raging Jong A-hoon creep up behind. Kang Hyun flinched and spun around real fast. Guild leader torched himself since it was game over. He used self-destruct to drag his enemy down to hell. Kid threw an arm up to block, but total fail. Boom, explosion hit, and everyone scrambled fast. Was toast from that gnarly fire wave, wrecking everything. This new move was straight up lethal, packing way too much juice. He'd totally yeet his own life to snag Kong. Guess his master plan was kinda trash. Through the blaze, he spotted his op still kicking. Out of the inferno, our boy's hand shot out. At him, dude wasn't quitting. He was literally lit. Crispy skin and all, he snatched Jung-yoon for the finisher. Guild boss was shook. His brain just couldn't process the L, even trading his life. AEW looked totally out of reach. Our hero was salty. All that hype for this week? Sauce villain? Seriously. No time to chill. He swung hard at Jong, who was totally gassed and couldn't fight back at all. Bait boss hacked up blood instantly. That hit was critical damage. Kang-hoon kept the combo going, kicking the dude full force, sending him flying sideways, splat, right into a dead wolf corpse. Slumped in the dirt, he groaned, holding his side. Moving was basically torture. Our savage boy told his rival to sit tight and watch him wipe the squad. He was like, after all this drama, nah, we ain't cool. So now, Jung gets a front row seat to his goons getting wrecked. One jump and the main character zoomed in, kicking up dust everywhere, deleting every last bait guild member left. Hearing his minions scream, the boss knew it was straight up, game over. Whole situation went sideways. Just cause they messed with some rondo scrub who turned out to be a total psycho. Hopeless. The dude started giggling. Like, what else can you even do now? A second later, that giggle morphed into a full-blown meltdown. Meanwhile, Kang-hoon had already clapped everyone, just bodies and bloody loot drops left on the field now. Over yonder lay the dead mobs who totally failed to protect their little ones. Kang-hun and his pal strolled to Jung A-hun. The last survivor still kept. His eyes went glazed and empty, just pure doom vibes reflecting back. Ian was shook that the creep kept laughing. So our hero said, leave him be. Dude had clearly lost his marbles completely. Guild leader's brain was just playing its over on loop. But then, big brain moment. Maybe there's still a tiny chance to clutch this. Jong-yoon figured it was impossible he'd actually get such a lame game over. The MC saw instantly that the enemy wasn't fully crazy yet. He wasn't rage. Bait boss clenched his teeth super hard. He realized dying here was just not the vibe. He suddenly remembered his life had been grindy since he was a being the side chick's kid meant zero chill at home. Randoms treated him better than his own hateful yet he stayed dragged into their messy power trips. Totally pointless drama for him, but his dad felt guilty, I guess, tossing him pity points, which just made his sibs bully him harder. Then, bam, rules vanished. Everyone woke up in a glitched reality. The tutorial mode was straight up brutal nightmare fuel. Most rage quit life. Only the tryhards survived. Spawning in dungeons with zero mods or admins around, so the server reset to caveman settings. Chaos. Might makes right. Noobs get wrecked. Pros win. Dude claimed that was his big level up moment, but Kang Hyun wasn't gonna sit through the kus. He skipped the dialogue and landed the critical hit. Felt the steel, realized his game over screen was here. Thud, his head went bowling for nothing. Strike. Hero gripped his blade, exhaling. Quest complete. He was kinda shook. Why do baddies always monologue before getting deleted? But Yon didn't mind hearing the guy's last words. Anyway, he thanked his bro for the assist. Even though his buddy just did it for the look, Yen grinned, asking how the epic win felt, waiting for a reaction on that sweet revenge vibe. Honestly, Kang-hoon was blanking on an answer, cause ... People say clearing the boss level feels empty, but he just felt like he took out some nasty trash. Basically the same satisfaction you get when ... You finally dig a huge wax chunk out of your ear. No biggie, just a nice that's better feeling. Drop the emo talk. So, what about the loot? Yuzin shrugged. Dude's wallet is already maxed out. Hero blinked. Seriously, turning down free gear. He started checking the weapon drops himself. Tons of For a sec, he wondered if he was being too greedy. He usually didn't sweat cast. Dungeon runs pay well. But then it clicked he couldn't just rely on skills. Protecting his stuff needs more than just brute force. So yeah, stacking cash to buy power wouldn't hurt. IRL night had fallen while our heroes they exited. watching the dungeon portal glitch out. Ian nodded. Mission officially complete, boys. The hero, keeping his poker face, decided to ... run his new strategy by his teammate. Dude started yapping about maybe making a guild, but Yusan didn't even listen. Just nodded like a bobblehead at whatever he said. Kang-hoon made it clear he was just getting started, but his pal knew this guy's guild would be a total riot. Our hero smirked, not having even asked his buddy to join yet. Ian wasn't buying a single word coming out of his mouth, because it was obvious he was just testing the waters. No one guessed a joke guild by two dudes would get so infamous. Meanwhile, the scene shifted over to the big boss's office, who just got terrible news about Zhang-ai. Zhang Sansu screamed at the lackey meant to hype up his son. Basically, he just threw their agreement straight in the trash. Shanjin sat facing away, totally ignoring the tantrum behind him. He spun around with a lazy grin, zero stress in his vibe. He figured the old geezer had to be pulling a prank. When he started ranting about some broken rule, Zhang Sansu could barely handle watching this clown act, especially since his son had been ghosting them for a week. But the dude clearly didn't see this as a problem, and actually seemed to be enjoying the drama. He couldn't even try to hide the smirk plastered on his face. The boss was shook that he cared 0% about the kid. Choi Mun wasn't shocked. A skill-less loser ended up dead. He already secured the bag, so nothing else really mattered. Jung Su's face turned totally purple with rage when he heard the bodyguard had slacked off so hard on the job. Acting tough, he ordered his goons to attack and end him. In a split second, the whole staff whipped out weapons to rush Choi Man-jun, who looked bored. The dude didn't even bother fully opening his eyes. That's how confident he was in his crazy skills. Tentacles shot out, choking everyone before they could blink. Chi-mi-jin tightened his grip, squeezing the life out of them. Choi Mi-jin stayed seated, just chilling since there was literally nobody left standing to challenge him now. He told Chan to listen. He did exactly what the contract said. Flexing his powers, the guy. What the problem was, if the job was technically finished, Jung Su was terrified, knowing he couldn't fight this monster. Staring him down, Chanjin warned him not to try that again. The chairman finally mumbled that he got the message since he had zero other options. Choi Mi-jin smiled sweetly, his urge to wreck everyone gone. He dropped the staff, letting them flop to the floor in a heap. He was stoked they finally came, an understanding, and just wanted his cash for the day. Choi Mi-jin paused a sec, sudden curiosity sparking in his peeps were dying to know who the mystery Chad that wrecked Jung-hyun was. The bait guild totally collapsed, and that sudden poof of a huge crew started mega gossip. Media went nuts, and adventurers were spiraling. But with fresh guilds and cracked rookies rising, bait became old news fast. Cut to a bougie diner way out in the sticks. Our boy and his pal were chatting about how, theoretically, they're chill since the haters are gone, and he's jacked. Thanks to Ian's plugs, they sold the loot with zero drama. So the squad was vibing, eating expensive grub. MC thought it was lit, but Kang-hoon looked super salty. He explained that the whole issue was the sketchy title he snagged in the fight. The Cruel Destroyer of Oz tag gave +2 strength, but major aggro. It basically makes everyone instinctively terrified of him. Dude's been stressing hard because of how he's been acting, and the title just makes the cringe worse. Ian said to Chili, looked like a creep, even without the stats. Right then, the MC's phone buzzed. Kim Hyen from Dangan was calling. Bro butchered the name again, but the teach is used to it. Kim asked if he remembered. Deal they made before the bait throwdown. Honestly, our guy was clueless. Totally ghosted that memory. The teach wasn't even shocked by the answer. He figured the kid would flake. He reminded him to meet the guild boss. Scene switched to the main Dangan HQ, where the meetup was going down. MC was low-key nervous, asking stuff on the way. He wasn't sure if bringing Yuzona, total wildcard, was smart. Kim just shrugged and said, boss gave the green light, so the homies could stay. Yusan got salty. Kang treated him like an object, claiming he knew the boss. Said they met at some fancy cultural gig. MC realized his buddy was also from a loaded family and felt like the only broke noob left. Soon enough, they hit the reception spot where the guildmaster was waiting. Han yelled out for the guests to come on in. Kim opened the door, letting the boys slide through. Dude was shook when he walked in. Didn't expect a total baddie. She smiled warmly, finally meeting the guy she'd been waiting for. She and the hero shook on it. Then she was like, oh, I know you. Ayuni spilled all the tea. The vice captain read the room and bailed, so they could chat. Boss gave him a thumbs up for the hard work. Han Sheng pointed at the sofa. Park it, let's get comfy. Kang Hyun was super grateful to the Dangan crew. I owe you guys huge. She waved it off like it was nothing. Easy peasy for us. Don't sweat the small stuff, hero. But he wasn't having it. No way, he insisted, 'cause he hated favors. So, what's the real deal? Why am I here? Herva got serious real quick. Straight to the point then. He nodded. Yeah, ain't nobody got time to waste. Honestly, she totally wanted a tea party first. But since he was rushing, she just rolled with it. She stared daggers at him, trying to crack his poker face coat. Finally, the boss lady leaned in to drop the big question. So, Kong Hyan, ... Want to join the squad at she asked, eyes sparkling. Hard pass. Refusal was instant. Dude had way different life goals. Cue the crickets. Silence got loud since the convo just hit a brick wall. Yon tried to kill the awkward vibe. Laughed. Wow. Shot down instantly. Didn't even let the sentence finish. Han Shang just smirked. She totally got it. He wasn't playing games, just giving a straight no. He backtracked. Look, I'll pay you back. Just in some other way? Need a hand? Just holler at me. Chill, she said. Having a beast like you owe us one. That's a total win for us. Anyway, the hero was sus though. How's he gonna help the top dogs? Math wasn't mathing. The boss decided to drop it and switch gears. So, how long do you think this peace and quiet lasts? Dude hadn't even realized things were quiet. Too busy grinding, I guess. But yeah, dungeons popping up and crime spiking. World's basically a ticking time bomb. Kong Hyan clicked. Ah, so that's what you're fishing for. Like level 8 training hits? Totally the calm before the storm hits. He just shrugged. I have zero clue. And stressing about it won't fix anything, right? We got 5 years till the Hawan link. Anyway, but Han Shang gave him the sign. Try 3. She dropped the bomb. Clock's ticking way faster. Why though? He asked. She got cryptic. Couldn't spill all the beans. Han Shang just hinted some creepy entity was involved. Knew the tea. Plus, had awakened dude to chat her up. Dude instantly figured it was totally about the guy didn't even click that. Someone could actually DM the admin. The boss figured out main character already clocked that the dungeons were getting harder, way faster than people could level up. Ian stayed chill, dropping that what doesn't kill you makes you buff line. He pointed out how guns are totally useless against monsters, but Kang Hyun was totally clueless about that till now. Finally clicked why you never see hunters packing heat. A buddy noted bows are still a thing because of some weird theories. Han just confirmed that only those grinding in this new meta can get as OP as our hero. She admitted Kong could be a hero, but he thought it was a drag. Plus, he wasn't exactly Mr. Nice Guy. He remembered trashing that bait guild, but the girls didn't give a rip. Dude was shook that Han soon was so chill about his savage move. Honestly, she felt those losers were useless for saving the world anyway. So, protecting them, total waste of time. With a creepy look, she said Wong Kong is worth way more than hundreds of those scrubs. Strength saves the world. Not being a saint. Meeting over, Kim Yoon went back to chat with the boss lady, gave a quick courtesy knock, and walked right in. She was at her desk, looking like she knew he'd show up. She asked if the deputy had kicked the guests out yet, and he nodded, saying he personally stuffed him in the car. He asked how it went, fishing for her take on the meet. Han leaned in, sighing, totally not what I expected from him. The VP immediately started guessing her vibe, and she just smiled, confirming it fast. Turns out she caught Kang's eye twitch for a split second when she mentioned the admin. Because of that, Hedangan figured this dude definitely finished his training. Meanwhile, a new dungeon popped up that was totally built different. Basically, E rank and D rank might differ by one letter, but the power gap is absolutely massive. Monsters get buffed, sure, but the insane variety is the real kicker. Like inside the Drank, Danis's lab, where every monster Kong ever met was chill. No biggie for him, but he instantly spotted that the enemy mix here was completely off the charts. After wrecking another mob, he kept pushing through the unknown halls. He thought about how, usually, monstrous boss or grunt were the same type, making fights a breeze. But when every enemy, dude froze up when this random enemy spawned out of nowhere. It was a massive ogre chimera, way bigger than that orc boss from before. The beast screamed its head off, mad that some kid crashed its turf. Our boy figured his freak was a total DIY disaster, looking like an orc rocking a goblin head. Then, a light bulb went off. He knew exactly how to handle this monster. Kang Hyun asked if the ogre wanted to join his guild, purely because he had a bet with Enroll on who'd recruit a newbie first. The big guy wasn't vibing with the offer at all, though, instead, he swung this ginormous sledgehammer, smashed the ground right where Kong Hyun stood, trying to flatten him. Dude hopped away just in time, barely dodging the He smirked, could have just said no, instead of being so rude. Bruh, the beast growled, super salty that the intruder didn't go It grinned, spraying some super sketchy drool right at him. Even one drop of that stuff looked nasty. Grossed out, Kang Hyun started charging up a magic blast in his palm. BAM, a loud thud echoed, and the giant got swallowed by dust. The kid spun around to check out the damage after their little scuffle. Turns out, that spit was pure acid, melting right through the dungeon walls. He also noticed the thing's hide was tough. Definitely not cheap leather. and the size gap between them was insane. Anyway, using his big brain, Kong Hyen figured out the winning move. Eyes lighting up, he decided to jack that massive hammer for himself. Meanwhile, some other warriors crept into the dungeon, drawn by the noise and assuming a hunt was on. Whatever, the guy felt that wasn't the main issue right now. He told his buddy to focus up on what was straight ahead. Suddenly, a bunch of awakened squads bumped into each other, deciding to sweep the place together. Shinsana was there too, eyeing the strangers silently but keeping her lips sealed. One guy chuckled, clearly enjoying the view, stoked to find a cutie in a place like this. His partner ignored the randoms, freaked out by the weird noises. The other dude kept insisting it was just battle sounds. Unaware of them, Kong Hyen dragged giant hammer along, sniffing the air like he caught a scent. Finally, the whole crowd spotted the weirdo strolling slowly down the dungeon hall. Our boy was muttering to himself about smelling something funny. Then he busted out a crazy laugh, sensing trash mobs he could delete. Nobody had a clue who this psycho was, but they definitely saw the massive hammer on his back. Clueless on what to do, they just froze as the creeper got closer. They definitely weren't expecting the main character. Zane swung wildly, hoping for the best. Surprisingly, it actually worked. Dude just smashed the hammer straight into the ceiling above him. Debris rained down, making everyone cover their heads like panicked turtles. Meanwhile, our main character just kept standing there, posing like a statue with his weapon held high. The others thought he was totally nuts, swinging that beast in such a tiny room. Then they froze, realizing Kong Hyen wasn't finished yet. The hammer slammed down with a boom, missing their toes by inches. Those guys scrambled backward just in the nick of time. They stared at him like, is this guy completely mental? He clearly didn't care about safety. For a few seconds, Kong Hyen stood frozen, ignoring the massive weapon. He paused for a bit, looking deep and thought about his next move. Realization hit. This thing is way too bulky to be a main weapon. So he decided he'd better just stash the giant smasher back in his inventory. Now the crowd was totally confused. What was this strange guy's game plan? The leader was baffled. This guy started with such a bang? He actually expected an epic fight. But nope. It looked like a total flop was happening instead. Figuring our boy was unarmed, now, the leader charged in to attack first. Big mistake. He didn't know that. Hammer wasn't the only trick up Kong Hyen's sleeve. One swift kick to the noggin was all it took to drop the cocky guy. Mr. Tough Guy clearly didn't expect to get wrecked that fast. Lights out. He couldn't even stand and crumbled to the floor, out cold. His buddies watched, jaws dropping, and froze in terror, seeing their strongest fighter flattened instantly. Our hero wasn't done yet. He grabbed the unconscious guy by the hair. Sword at the throat, he growled in his scary voice. Empty your pockets? Now, the leftover? Goons realized Kong Hyen was genuinely unhinged. They couldn't just watch, their boss was in serious trouble. So, the whole squad rushed him at once. Only Shinsona stayed back, looking totally lost. Our hero sighed, attacking despite a hostage. Zero manners with these people, he asked. For the victim's name? Kim Gi. The guy stuttered in a shaky voice. Change of plans. He tossed the sword to the side. He didn't want to kill the hostage, so instead, all he did was grab the family jewels. Maximum damage achieved. A bandit tried to attack, but braked hard when he saw the setup. Turns out, Kong Hyen decided to use Kim Yusik himself as a human bat to hit the others. Tears streaming from the insane pain, the human weapon finally passed out. Meanwhile, the others froze up seeing another homie bite the dust. They gawked for a sec as their pal hit the floor, shook that our boy dropped him so weird. Even Kang Hyen was shook. Didn't think that'd fly? He spun on the haters and asked if they wanted some of that smoke too. He stalked toward the leftover goons who lost their nerve. They squeaked, stay back, but looked totally pathetic. They stood frozen, freaking out as the psycho zoomed in. Shinsino, the only one not brawling, watched the smackdown, studying every hit. After wrecking him, our MC stood over the sleepy piles. Figured they were just a scrubby rank raid team, but weak or not, they still wasted his time. Then the girl finally hyped up to talk. Shinsuna bowed deep, thanking him for the save, since he basically bailed her out. Dude said no bows, cause beating punks is fun for him. Then the cutie introduced herself and asked what to call her. Awesome hero. Kang Hyen cringed at the title and just gave his name. Shinsina decided to stick with Mr. Anyway and had a question. She asked how to get OP like him. Her serious face showed she wasn't playing around. The dude stared at Shin. Son, clueless on how to answer that weirdness. History. Two of Korea's traces met a third, but that drama is for later. Honestly, he was stumped. Never overthought his gains. It wasn't hard since he figured you just gotta grind hard like he did. She didn't expect that basic reply, but hoped grinding worked. Kang Hyen added that not all effort counts, so you gotta grind till you drop. That line made the girl pause and get super deep. He found it ironic for a respawner to preach about death. After dropping that, he ended the chat, letting her decide the bandit's fate. She just stood quiet, staring at his back as he walked deeper into the dungeon. Kang Hyun turned the corner, but it was obvious from his steps he wasn't rushing. He spun back, asking if she could exit solo. She wasn't sure. Most peeps figure you beg for help here. But this girl, zero chill, didn't ask at all. He was down to assist, but he had cleanup duty first. Then she hits him with, "Yo, I'll just tag along with you till the dungeon ends." Kang Hyun definitely didn't order a sidekick today. He thought she had a death wish and was like, "Nah, bad idea." She cut him off fast. Though, like, "Hold up, it's not what you think." She knows her lane. She just loot stones and stay out of the way. Avi, she'd hand over all the loot to him, but he was still thinking, sketchy. Shinso Nas swore she wouldn't die, so he figured, why not? Finally, our guy decides not to ghost her and lets her tail him. They pushed forward, wrecking mobs. Kang Hyun flicked blood off his sword. She stayed back. Fight done. She gave him props for the carry. So, flashing her tiny dagger, she volunteered to handle all the boring looting stuff. She sliced up the monsters like a pro to dig out those sweet magic crystals inside. Watching her, he realized she wasn't totally useless. She's also got stealth hacks, stick into the backline during fights. Plus, she took over the grunt work of stone collecting. Dude was starting to think she was actually handy. He wondered what her next move was. The boss room ahead. Major bad vibes coming off it. She was like, "I've made up my mind." She's riding this bus till the wheels fall off. Bam, pop-up says the core's gone and the exit's open. MC was shook. Who the heck beat him to it? Then he spotted something super weird. That made his stomach do a back. He could still feel the boss's energy. Super creepy. Only one explanation. Dungeon break. At the same time, news broke about a massive dungeon break. Turns out, Seoul was popping off with dozens of them, but this wave is different from the last two. Experts say it's a straight-up terror attack. Awakened guilds were freaking out everywhere. Everyone was prepping for one heck of a fight. One boss wasn't waiting for help, he was already gearing up. It was Choi Dong-woo, top dog of the Ability Alliance, who was totally prepped to smash that monster outbreak. His aide was shook by the speed, but still dropped the new info. He spilled that a deranged dungeon broke too, which totally stunned the boss. Choi Dong-woo was like, "Where at?" And dude said Swan Kyogo, right by Dion's lab. He instantly remembered that. Skipped clearing that spot, cause it was hard. Now this mess? He asked if any big guilds were close, and the aide said Hangul was there. But their main squad was AF, so the boss said, "Get 50 elites ready to rush that spot," while the rest split up for the other dungeons. Meanwhile at Dang Gun Guild, everyone already knew the Hansong asked her aide. The vibe was, he said the Alliance head went to Dion's lab himself with his top crew. The girl doubted their timing and was shook. No local guilds could handle the defense. Kim Yoon explained that besides Hyo Guild, it's just noob groups that won't do jack. But rumors said one awakened was speedrunning the monster kills. There, the instructor grinned, describing a buff dude with a giant sword. He said the guy looked so scary. He could be a monster. Classic Kang Hyun vibes. Hanso also smiled on her face, guessing it was their buddy holding it down. Turns out the MC grabbed attention because he soloed all the enemies. All the fighters gathered near this dungeon thought this guy was totally None could believe Kang Hyun was just a regular user. One fighter worked up the nerve to thank our hero for the save. He asked how to repay him, but the dude just mumbled something. The kid tensed up, clueless about what this OP guy would do, but he still asked what was up. Eyes blazing, Kang Han told him to bounce or get wrecked by enemies. The fighter couldn't get why the MC was raging, since no bad guys were around yet. But actually, the dude knew it was far from over. He saw the rift was still open, so the danger wasn't done. Clearly, the main boss was about to spawn from the deep. Kang Hyun decided to warn everyone the boss is incoming, so if they camp here, they're toast. Nobody seemed to buy that it was actually happening. Realizing the hero wasn't joking, the dude choked up and gulped hard. He begged, "Wait, we got powers too, we can totally help." But exhausted Kang Hyun wasn't exactly vibing with that idea. Time to school this warrior real quick. Totally lost. The warrior waited for the pro's wisdom, hoping for a clue. He asked his boss kill count, but the dude just mumbled nonsense. The MC flexed his scary aura. "You'll just cramp my style," he ordered. The dude tried to clap back, but nope, epic fail. Meanwhile, his squad was totally clueless. Who's this guy acting all high and mighty? They just didn't get it. Even with skills, acting that cocky ain't right. But that fierce awakened dude, terrifying. MC looked ready to delete anyone blocking him. Total nightmare fuel. The squad finally figured listening to Kang Hyun was smart and bailed. Kang Hoon watched him obey and clear the zone for him. He groaned, "Ooh, so much time wasted on this drama." Only Cincino stayed behind. Stubborn girl. That one? She tried to explain, but it was tough facing a raging Kong. Even she couldn't handle his creepy vibe, so she just zipped it. Not bad though, he could totally use her skills. Shinsona was shook hearing he wanted her in the boss fight. "Wait," Hiro said. "Cover me, but find a hiding spot first," he whispered, asking if the girl could actually help. His scary mask slipped a bit. She never expected Kong-hyeon to ask that, but she agreed to team up. Dark vibes swirled the rift. Bus incoming. From the rip in space, several huge, scary monsters oozed out, radiating danger. MC didn't flinch. He stood his ground, ready to rumble. He was actually kinda shook seeing a whole squad of monsters. Not just one. Thought it was the 4 heavenly kings from Buddhism, but nah, just 3 foes. He eyed each beast, plotting his next move. Each was erg level tough. Definitely not gonna be a walk in the park. Turns out they hadn't seen the main baddies yet. The real boss popped up a second later. First, a bony arm crept out of the mysterious rift. Next, a creepy skull with spooky glowing sockets dragged itself out of the crack. This bony dude, totally, floated up over his monster squad. Shikuri talks. He starts dissing the weird architecture immediately. Our hero froze up. He never guessed this creepy boss would chat in plain English. Just then, Mr. Bones spotted one chill dude standing amidst the wreckage, totally unfazed. He smirked, asking if this kid seriously planned to solo him. "You bet," the kid shot back, grabbing a weapon from his stash. Suddenly, the quiet shattered with the loud smack of a hammer wrecking the pavement. Kong-hyeon wasn't overthinking it. He just wanted to smash this bonehead and wrap it up. The boss was shook by the audacity, but figured the kid's body was useful. The monster tried to drop a warning, but the guy wasn't vibing with the villain monologue. Smiling like a Chad, our hero offered his faux affair 1 versus 1, telling the goons to back off. The monster squad went dead silent for a sec. Finally, the big bad said, "Nope, bummer." The kid realized hoping for a fair duel was dumb. Whatever. He gripped his gear tight, ready to school. Kong-hyeon raised his hammer, prepping the first strike. He yeeted himself at the cocky enemies. Instantly, all the monsters rage-rushed the hero. Knowing he was the biggest threat to them, Kang-hyeon kept charging up a massive hit. He also started to suck in air to trigger a special ability. Then, he unleashed a furious lion's roar. The monsters suddenly felt their energy dip to 0. They couldn't believe a simple scream just nerfed them hard. Kong-hyeon saw his chance and leaped up for the opener. Grinning like a maniac, he swore they were all gonna get it. First up, he smacked a giant armored knight right on the noggin. He was getting hyped, ready to farm these guys one by one. He smashed the head again. The mob stood no chance. The boss was totally salty about the fight, but just stood there watching. He actually chuckled seeing the MC's crazy strength. The skeleton sensed 0 magic vibes. He realized this kid was running on pure muscle. Brew. The beast paused, thinking, shame to waste this noob's talent. Decided, nah, I'll make this Chad my slave. Meanwhile, the boneheads had no clue how to handle our OP hero. He was wrecking M. Erg's melon popped. Splat. Red sauce everywhere under that helmet. Finally, that metal bucket smashed. 0 protection left. Baddie's dizzy, wobbling like he's totally wasted. Monster floor hard. His squad was too scared to jump in. Kong-hoon's shaking though. That hammer's heavy as heck. At the same time, Floatwise skeleton guy raises a creepy hand. Zaps the hero with some major brainwashing voodoo. Suddenly, a super weird vibe hit him, like he was getting hacked by a remote controller. Eyes went dark. Lights out. Nobody home. Just blank. Skelly Man hung back, floating there, checking if the glitch worked. Eyes glowing. Gotcha. Watching the dude freeze up. Boss thinks GG. Welcomes him to the zombified losers club. Bow down, peasant, the monster commanded. But then, our boy starts lifting his arm, like, nope, I'm driving this bus. Skelly's shook. Wait, that wasn't in the script. Kid fights the lag and flips him the bird. Savage. That mind chill ring is the real MVP right now. So, hero's back in the game. No issues. Boss figures, cheaters, got anti-magic gear. Bummed his plan flopped in the end. Suddenly, Tiger Dude jumps. Kong-hoon, trapped. Time to pop the more of ears, shroud light. Takes a hit but tucks and rolls to survive the damage. He slammed fast into a wall. Dust and bricks flying everywhere. Monster just stood there, wondering if they even scratched him. Out of no arrow to the tiger's dome. Skelly's jaw dropped, who invited player 3. Totally took his eyes off the prize for a sec. Realized the kid brought friends? Sneaky. The boss stayed put. Chill cause the intruder was 0 threat. No stress. So, Kong-hyeon, who was like, stoked to survive that crash, loved Sona's clutch timing. Skelly was shook his minion, hit him for 0 damage. Hun looked like he wouldn't waste a sec, prepped to clap back hard. A split sec later, bruh yeeted forward, moving crazy fast and sharp, gripped that hammer tight, arm veins popping with raw power. In a blink, the fighter closed the gap super quick to his foe, flexing hard, and swung that heavy hammer. Plus, Kang Hyun knew his aim was fire, so he'd won. The tiger, still salty and hurt from that arrow, couldn't dodge the insane speed. Both beasts got bonked on the head. Game over, for real. Raptor screamed, but was too gassed to clap back. Then he went noodle mode and passed out cold on the floor. Main guy didn't even guess that the final mob plotted a sneaky move to jab him with a toxic sting. Hun felt bad vibes and whipped around to check what was creeping up behind him. Bro was too slow, and a sharp toxic barb stabbed him, even though the burning pain rushed all over him. The hit, he fought to stay up, refusing to face. Hero dropped his gear and switched to plan B. Real quick, snagged the last foe's tail, used his last energy to bolt. Big Lazar knew in that split sec, he messed up big time and was totally exposed. Hoon hoisted his enemy overhead with maximum effort. Ignoring the massive weight, dude absolutely slammed the lizard down hard, destroying any chance it could flee. Then he dipped into his inventory fast to grab his mane. As the beast tried to stand up, Bro was already lunging with his blade. Lizard spun and saw it was way too late to do squat. Last thing he saw was the crazy dude and a shiny sword. A sec later, red stuff splattered everywhere on the floor. Finally, the hero chilled, pausing his blade that was dripping red. Skelly never guessed all his goons would drop fast. His confidence just tanked. Hun stood tall over them, ready to fight the main boss. He wiped his lip, pointless though, and faced the last guy. The dude, wearing his usual stressed face, said just a pile of bones remained. Zero fear here, he just sneered, calling the beast Baldy to his face. Skelly thought he was just capping, but got nervous cause the kid was actually tough. Figured a dude with 0 mana left couldn't possibly take down a boss like him. Kang Huan was salty, his enemies saw his weak spot. Dude was out of juice, so his regen was clipped. Worst part, Bus was camping mid-air, totally out of reach. So useless. He didn't have the stats to jump that high or chuck anything. Only option was brute force, which was kinda sketchy. Then, boom sharp, heart pain. Rude reminder, his HP was low. Nose started leaking. But our boy didn't know why his body was bugging out. Chest tightened up, and he started hacking up a lung. Plus, he kept slipping on his own blood puddle. Total faceplant hazard. So he wiped out hard. Looked pretty cringe, honestly. His body just went on strike. He had no clue why he crashed so fast. Skelly wondered if he finally got that he was just a squishy noob. Said that earlier. Sting was a setup now. The poison damage was hitting. The boss grinned like a winner. Admitted, he just had to use poison. Classic cheap shot. Kang Hoon lay there bleeding, realizing he walked into a trap like an idiot. He forced himself up, but the boss knew it was already game over, and offered the cure if he became his slave. Our hero just smirked immediately. Boss didn't know he had 0 chill. Vowed to smash that skull and play puzzles with the bits. His eyes flared up. With rage, again, finding new strength to delete this monster. Planned to burn his last mana to purge the poison, then go full aggro. Decided to play his final trump card in the sword. Buffs, strength, but nerfs, IQ. So yeah, consequences were gonna be wild. Told the skeleton to bring it since he was yapping so much. The big bad was totally shook. That a normie was this desperate and bold. Suddenly, a voice behind him went, "Alright, that's enough." Turns out Showdown Wu from the Alliance had just spawned in. This pro thought the kid did a solid job. Whoever he was, Alliance promised to handle the rest of the cleanup though. Kang Hoon realized the dude there was the one who actually maxed out his training. Couldn't believe he met a legend in a dump like this. Seeing the kid was totally wrecked, he told him to chill out. RMC tried to block Cho Wu, swearing he could still throw hands. Bolt of pain hit him hard. He froze up, couldn't speak, muscles locked tight from the crazy agony. The kid crumpled to his knees and started wheezing. Clear, he couldn't swing a sword anymore. Kang Hyun realized going solo was still a huge pain. He flopped on his back, 0 energy left, sighing hard. After the chaos, Parrot rolled his eyes at the Alliance boss acting like the main hero. Cut to the ER where Kang Hyun was laid up hurt. Dude, snapped awake, totally lost on where he was. Kang Awoon, chilling there all day, looked shocked her bro was awake. She stared at our boy. A sec to check if his brain was actually working. He hated that waking up meant seeing his sis's goofy mug first. IN thought Pain Docs was dumb since bro just respawns anyway. Right then, the MC recalled the dungeon and asked about the monster rush. Sis didn't know the deets, but said everything was chill. She was shook when told Kang Hyun landed in the. Getting there, she spotted the ability alliance boss hanging out. Kong-hoon also didn't guess Showdown personally dragged his butt over here. He flashed back to some weirdo handing him an org business card. Our guy got tense fast, figuring he owed them big time now. Meanwhile, Lelusis begged Kang Hyun to stop being reckless. She knew his skill was rare, but nobody knows when his luck runs out. Kang Hyun wasn't vibing with the lecture, since he didn't die for fun, and the whole thing kinda sucked. Then, the dude saw Sis acting weird about what he said. Looked like she was gonna bawl, but tried to keep it together. Mc never guessed Ian actually cared that much about him. He was kinda thrown off, not expecting his sis to be so emotional, so he promised to stay alive. Next up, scenes at the Ability Users HQ main office. Alliance where everyone buzzed about the flashy Kung Hung. The big boss hadn't heard of this dude, but he recalled his aide, maybe hit the guy up once before. The worker didn't get why Bossman personally rushed the fighter to the ER and paid the tab. Cho Dong-woo just gave a chuckle before explaining his random move. He told his minion, "Dude, you're witnessing a hero's origin story. We gotta do him a solid right now. Rare chance." He pictured Kang yelling about crushing Chong-woo's high score. The boss shook it off. Whatever. Next crisis. So, he asked, "Where's our runaway skeleton freak?" Meanwhile, the doc was like, 0 damage. This kid heals like a mutant. Because of that, the guy bailed early, leaving his sis totally shook, cause she had no clue why the guild boss was footing the bill. Kang frowned at the penalty stats. Then, someone called his name. Kang spun around, saw a random suit at the front desk. He sent his sis ahead and walked over to handle the stranger solo. Desk lady was like, "He's gone," but the guy wasn't buying it. The suit groaned, super bummed about missing him. Joke's on him. Kang was standing right there. Kang skipped the polite intros and just as asked, "Who's asking?" He stared daggers at the guy, who just froze up. The suit beamed. "Wait, you're him." Kang nodded. "Yup." Guy snapped out of it and fumbled in his jacket pockets. "I'm Shin," he said, flashing a badge. "Security department, superpower division." Our boy was kinda weirded out that a Fed was chasing him down. Why is the government suddenly stalking him? They hit a BBQ joint to spill the tea over grilled pork. "Pricey spot," Kang noted. Suit guy went, "It's on the house." Kang cracked up. He asked where his taxes went. Guess it's buying him dinner now. Finally, Shin dropped the bomb. "We want you on the squad. For real." He added quickly, "No pressure though, just a suggestion." Kang thought, "Gov't job? Sweet benefits." Shin broke it down. "Look, it's not boring desk work. We're prepping for the apocalypse. The feds, no, we can't leash every superpowered freak out there. Too many new users popping up to force into line. And starting a war. Bad vibes. So we want allies, not enemies. Scratch our back, we scratch yours." Kang cut to the chase. About the pay, Shin promised they'd pay enough to live like a king. 0 budget worries. Plus, if you get wrecked on the job, we'll make sure the fam gets paid and hooked up with whatever they need. Finally, our boy was like, "Yeah, the deal sounds solid." Though obviously, he'd have to hustle for it. Dude didn't deny it, but managing M wasn't exactly rocket science. He promised total freedom, as long as our guy helped out sometimes. Guess who's already in on the action? Chodong, Wu from the Alliance and Hansen from the Dean and Guild were already down. Our MC was totally vibing with this cause he could double, so he figured YOLO and took the gig from Shin. Cut to the scene at Suwon Gyoga, right smack in the middle of Dion's lab. Hero was on foot wishing. He drove up, the hood was way too sketchy. Then bam, some dude spots him and starts hollering. Turns out, it was actually Sona, wandering over, clutching a bag. MC, terrible with names as usual, called her Shin's soul. She corrected him, but he barely listened. Classic. She just shoved the package at Kang-hoon without a word. The thing was stuffed to the max with magic crystals she snagged during the raid. Sona apologized for the late drop, claiming she meant to bring it earlier, but our boy was out cold. Dude was actually shook, realizing his partner waited ages, not knowing if he'd even show up. She nodded, and Kang-hoon thought, wow, so innocent? He felt kinda guilty, since she could have kept the loot but refused to break a promise. So he took the swag and thanked her for being awesome. He turned to bounce, just dreaming about his sweet ride. But she wasn't done yet and yelled out to him. He spun around to see her bowing super low for some random reason. Turns out, she still wants Master to train her. He froze, eyebrows raised, totally blindsided by that. Meanwhile, a dungeon just popped up in the city forest. Kirka settlement. Frank's turf. That runaway lich was there. Shocked humans cornered him. A guy walked up, stressing him out. It was Keeman Junhun indeed. Boney Boy started getting way more anxious since he didn't recognize the guy. Guy told the monster to chill, claiming he wasn't a foe. Twist Jaimin Jun was actually the one who freed him. He mysteriously asked what the lich planned next. Would the monster take the help he was offering? Meanwhile, our main guy booked a spot to link up with his new recruit. Shinsona introduced herself to the partner, hyping up how stoked she was to meet him. Inion was shook because he 0% expected a random noob joining the squad. He figured his bro was a total loner who couldn't recruit a fly, but guess he was wrong. Dude was super salty that his bestie was roasting him, claiming he actually had pals who'd say the same thing. Finally, our hero realized Yusin might have a point. Anyway, Kong Hyan's the first to actually bag a teammate. So, she won the bet on who had to pay for dinner. No biggie for Enion, since he was always buying grub for his pal anyway. But he added that any wannabe who wants to join the guild gotta pass a vibe check, aka a dungeon run. Shinsana was deadly serious and instantly said bet. The main dude wasn't exactly thrilled about this plan, cause he knew his buddy just wanted to throw hands. Post-dinner, they hit up a drank spot called Harpy Cliff. Soon, the squad reached the boss Harpy, who tried to swipe M with its nasty claws. The trio had already clapped enough mobs, so only the big bird was left. Shinsana was super confident, locking onto her target. A split second later, she'll let go. Twang! The string snapped and the arrow screamed through the air. The beast definitely didn't see that speed coming. The boys watched the boss drop, proving the new girl wasn't playing around. Finally, Anderson admitted having a sniper on the crew was clutch. Main guy asked his bro if she passed the test. Dude totally forgot he even made the test, so Kang Wan had to jog his memory. Meanwhile, Shin's whipped out a dagger to start looting the The boys were confused why she was bothering, but she said she wanted to grab every single magic crystal. Hiro said digging for crumbs was too much effort, but she ignored him. The Gra said it's chill since she actually likes grinding for mats. Ian was just happy to see that hustle, since it meant free cash, which you can't waste if you're broke. Kong Hun didn't get his point. He just liked the big paydays from court. The lead asked how. The dude makes bank, but he said he's too rich to care. Suddenly, the guy zoned out because he felt something off. He instantly reached into his bag for a weapon, wondering if his bro felt that weird vibe too. And Yeong focused hard to listen to his gut instinct. Finally, it clicked. This dungeon was totally acting sus. Shinsuna, completely clueless, head in the clouds. She was like, why did the squad just go mute all of a sudden? Main character mode on. He closed his eyes to radar scan the threat. Boom! Launched an attack right where the creeper was camping. Turns out, Mr. Stalker was rocking an invisibility cloak the whole time, but got forced back into reality by a fist to the face. Dude dropped like a sack of potato. Threat level 0. Out cold in a second, just mumbling gibberish to himself. Kong Hun was confused, but Yong admitted the guy had mad stealth skills. The guy started yapping about how his nose is top tier, yet this ninja nearly fooled him. The issue, he didn't pick up on any bad vibes or bloodlust, so he figured the guy wasn't there to kill him. Still sketchy though. Ian thought maybe the dude was just passing by, so maybe Kong Hun's instant face punch was a bit much. Whatever. Sneaking up on hunters, huge, rookie mistake. So yeah, his nap on the floor was totally earned. Actually, our guy kinda guessed why this weirdo showed up. Flashback to that deal he made with Shin Toggle and the agency. Basically, the protagonist told them to hit him up. The second any shady drama went down, the guy apologized right away cause, oops, drama already exists. Asking if Kong Hayan heard about that recent dungeon terror attack. Oh, right, someone triggered that breach on purpose. Shin Toggle said they're already tracking the baddies responsible. That's why a massive raid is about to drop soon. And guess who they need to carry the team? Kang Hai. Meanwhile, the squad tried waking the spy with some sus yellow liquid. Tied him up real quick. No escape route for this guy. The main character smirked, looking all smug, and asked, oh look, Sleepin' Beauty is finally awake. Stranger panicked, trying to figure out why he was hog-teed, wondering who these psychos were and what mess he was in. Then the nasty smell of that face splash hit his nose. It reeked so bad he was scared to guess what it was. Kong Han kept it real. We wanted to use water, but we're kinda running low, so we used dead harpy pee. Enjoy the perfume. The dude listened, totally horrified by the insane alarm clock method these savages used. He called them total maniacs for pulling that stunt. Kept interrupting himself to gag because of the smell. Kong Hun didn't care. It was Q&A time, but he got right in his face and stared him down. He went full demon mode just to stress this dude out. He figured this rondo. Suspicion fell on the mastermind behind the dungeon mess. Dude just cracked up when Kong Hun accused him. He got super salty about being labeled a terrorist though. Claimed normies just don't get his grand plan. RMC honestly gave 0 cares about his goals. Told him to spill the tea right now, or get wrecked. Maybe he'd let him walk. Fanboy was so hyped on the cult logic, he stayed quiet, even after a beat. Swarasqua, untouchable by mere mortals. Anyway, cut to a few hours later. Villain crying for mercy, ready to talk. Kong Hun was like, I've got all day. Batty still had too many teeth left for his liking. They finally dragged him out of the dungeon after the brawl. Shintagol was waiting, so Kang Hoon flexed to capture. Say skipped the boring details and just tossed the villain over to the squad. Guy begged the cops to arrest him just to escape our sadist hero. The big boss asked, what went down? Mick blamed a harpy. Yeah, officers swooped in to haul the trash away and handle the paperwork. Shintagol gave props to the kid for the quick work. Then Yuasan, who clearly knew the suit, chimed in. Definitely some history there. The department head said they tried to hire Yusan, but got rejected. Dude just wasn't vibing with the gig. And Kung Hoon thought he was rude as heck. It was late o'clock and too many randoms were around. So the boss said, let's chat tomorrow. Next day, they linked up to roast Jung Yang, the baddie they caught. Guys, a stealth main and a big deal in the cult. Because of that intel, they located. The base raid is set for 2 weeks from now. Kong Hoon was like, why the lag? That's forever. Boss explained to Crank. Gate just popped up in China World first. MC saw the news, but they hid the juicy parts. The suit got super serious. Over 1,000 dudes entered, mostly wiped out. That actually shook him. Pretty weird stuff. Shintagol knew MC could solo D ranks, but higher ranks or Wayner, our main guy, recalled the rule. Harder ranks mean double the squad size. Then the boss started yapping about how China played by the book but still got totally wrecked. So now they need a crack team of pros to fix this mess. These top-tier fighters gotta clear Vanandi Forest and smash the sea. Kong Hien was like, why bother? Let China handle their own dirt. He didn't get why they were meddling in a drama like this. Shintagol was shocked the kid actually knew stuff. Turns out, nobody's managed to crack even a single core yet. If they just sit around, a monster outbreak hits in 2 weeks. Then a beast spawns and wipes out hundreds, right in Seoul. Hearing that, our hero ditched the attitude. This was real bad. Shintagol stressed that, because of the risks, they need prep. Experts predict a total bloodbath. Our boy remembered he had a free pass, and this gig was super crucial. The suit, read his mind and warned. Rules say no solo runs. Kid, that's exactly why he told you. Start a form a guild and build his own squad. Shintag knew he was a lone wolf. But hey, save the country first. Of course, the agency will handle the boring paperwork and fund everything. Kong Hyan knew it'd be a pain, but the stakes were huge. Plus, his crew was planning to start a guild eventually anyway. But now, getting it done for free was a total sweet deal. Our hero didn't stall and met up with his buds to brainstorm the new org. He suggested naming the guild, but Shinsuna and Enyong looked clueless. Enyong didn't get the rush. Since it was just the three of them, Kong Hyan insisted they had to sort it out and mentioned the suit he met a couple of days ago. He spilled the tea, and Yusan was shook hearing about the sweep. That dude got hyped instantly. He was itching for some action. Shinsina wasn't shocked though, cause our hero was totally the type to hustle the government. Kong Haeon hated being called master, but she stuck to the code. The star skipped the argument, cleared his throat, and dropped the deed. Anyway, this was the make or break moment for their squad. So, time to figure out their game plan. Rule number 1. No drama over dumb stuff. Kong Hoon stared at his buddy, who looked totally lost. Next up, everyone in the crew gets exactly what they've earned. Ian figured that meant rewards and punishments. The hero was like, we ain't villains, but don't be doormats. Then our main guy dropped the final rule. We've got to be the absolute best. Period. He waited to see if the squad vibed with it. Enyong was down. Mostly. Rule 1 seemed kinda iffy though. Shinsona was all in, ready to basically tattoo these rules on her soul. Topic closed. The new leader asked, so, got any name ideas? Dude instantly shouted, something super. Grossero said, nope, keep it clean. Kong Hoon turned to the girl. You got anything? Shinsuna thought super hard. With a dead serious face, she goes, how about Kong Hyan's Mighty Bunch? He instantly regretted asking. Big sigh. Guess he had to do all the brain work himself. Ian cracked up, heavy as the head that wears the crown, bro. So the guy whipped out his own designs. Thoughts? The team looked them over and nodded. Yeah, that slaps. Cut to later that night at a local bar. Chim Jin was chillin' until he heard Jung got busted. That definitely wasn't part of the plan. He stared at his drink, mood ruined. The minion couldn't fight, but his stealth skills were key. That's how they pulled off the plane's mission. Chanjun growled at his assistant. Who did this? She looked confused. He snapped. Who caught my guy? Finally, she spilled. Some user named Kong Hae. Boss took a sip. Wait, I know that name. That guy wrecked the Mutant K back in April. Training. Plus, during that big lab raid, he soloed the boss. He was fuming. This hero dude kept ruining everything. He shifted gears. How's the other thing? The girl said they were stalled. We're out of guinea pigs. Choi Min Jones scowled. Not good enough. Hurry it up. He gave her a creepy look. Get it done. Unless you want to be the next lab rat, she'll shut up fast. Knew better than to mess with him. Soon, the web was buzzing with news that the squad was ready to clear the Sarank dungeon. First up, Denon Guild. Predictable. Yawn. Then the ability users. The popular kids. Next, Warung Guild. The web roasts them hard. Eternity Guild joined too. Okay, serious vibes. Aside from that crew, some Guardian Guild was there. Total red. Black Knights stood out, trying way too hard. Finally, we showed up. Late? Yeah. Bug Bull. We shouted out the new badass guild. We in here? People totally called that day our debut prank. Late to the first meet? Classic. By the 50th time, nobody even blinked.